And here we go with the CMC Fabrication 150 at Daytona International Speedway. May have made it by, but oh, Danny Dow did not. Bobby Brill bringing the do-gooders number one.
It's Bristol, baby. Coliseum as fast as half mile.
Oh, and Matt Johnson already. One way in, one way out, 125. Danny Dow in second. And we are green flag. Bobby Brill takes the green.
Maybe he was trying to get a run, but if he was trying to get a run, that was not very, very sharp racing right there.
It's just, they just kind of get into each other once the caution flag happens. And so, two teammates.
I'll tell you what, it's great, but at the same time, man, the nerves and stress are just running through my veins right now.
But looks like Jake Rowell is going to hang on and win the Midnight Cheese Grater 75 here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Oh, and Bobby Brill into the wall, first turn.
Straight into the wall. Being hit by leader.
Dean Brummett wins the Between the Lines 70 here at the Roval. Congratulations to our first two-time winner. And there they go. Oh, yellow flag, big wreck, big wreck. A lot of damage, and then up top, that's Jay Graves. Oh no, he needed a good finish. That is not going to help him there.
Oh, and Jay Graves and Mike.
Jake Rowell into the wall, and we've got a wreck. That's Browning around. That's 84. Also around, all sorts of damage going on. Oh no! And there it goes. Oh no, yellow flag. So we are going to have a green-white checker. I don't know. Chad Wampler taking the checkered flag here at Talladega. Monster Mile 75. Good evening, race fans, and welcome out to Mid-South Madness week number 7 here at the Brickyard, the battle at the Brickyard 185 at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I am Sean Griffith. I am here with my broadcast partner, Brandon Browning. How's it going, Brandon?
What's going on, Sean, man? It's been going well. It's just not going so well at the moment. A little bit of technical difficulties, but we're going to get them fixed. We're going to call this amazing race tonight, Sean.
We are going to have a lot of fun tonight. I know they have been practicing really hard out there trying to figure out those cars. It is a very slick track, a very difficult track tonight.
Yeah, and that's the big thing is a lot of people have it in their heads that this is just a big square simple track to run. That's not the case here. Indy's really tricky. It's a track that'll reach up and get you a lot, like we saw today in real life at Dover. It's a track that sneaks up quick and you don't expect it coming, so hopefully they've all prepared for that and know it's on its way.
Definitely, it's going to be a great race. I know everybody's been trying really, really hard to figure this track out. The big consensus among all of the drivers is if you just slow down out there, slow down a little bit, then you're going to be okay.
Yeah, and that's a very solid point. And the reason I say that is because at a lot of places, the misconception that guys have is that slow is not fast. But obviously, slow with no mistakes, Sean, is faster than, fast with mistakes.
Absolutely it is. Well, let's talk about where everybody's at right now. Let's take a look at the current standings here. And so really we've got some great drivers up top. Dean Brummett, he's had 2 wins on the season. Bobby Brill, he's had 1. Troy Dow and Chad Wampler, both from Stake Dance Racing, both with 1, including last week's big win for Troy Dow.
Yeah, and Troy Dow, going back and talking about the race last week, prior to Troy Dow actually finding his way to victory lane, he was kind of a sleeper, so to speak. Like we hadn't, he ran good, but he wasn't pushing the issue. He was just taking his top 5s and, good finishes with stride. And then all of a sudden last week at Dover, he reached up and was boxing around with Miles and came out of there the winner.
Yeah, and I mean, man, look at all the drivers right behind him, though. There are a lot of drivers that want that spot. They want to get into the playoffs. And keep in mind, here at Mid-South Madness, if you win, you're in. And so that's what these people really need to do to guarantee a spot. But you can see that there is a cut line down there with Aaron Gerwitz, and then all these other drivers on the right side are chasing after him.
Yeah, and the biggest point in my opinion is you have talent throughout this league, from first place to 41st place down there. I mean, there's talent everywhere. The crazy part is just the amount of talent that you have in 5th through 15th, the guys that are not currently locked in, but they're fighting for it. And then you look on the other side of it, you've got the same thing. You've got Taylor and AJ Pritchett and some of those guys down there, David Duke, Danny Setzer, Corey Knight, all of these guys, Daniel Bowdler even, that aren't having the season that we know they can be up here in yellow and even in green, but it just hasn't went their way, Sean.
Yeah, definitely. I know there is one mistake on that, and that is Jake Roel. Jake Roel did win a race this year, so that 7th position, he is actually locked into the playoffs as well. So we have 5 guys locked in right now. The cut is the top 15, so 10 more people are going to make it in, and that's it.
Yeah, and what's crazy enough about that is with the races we have remaining, we can still have a different winner each week, and some of these guys still point their way in. Personally and honestly, I think we see a first-time winner, maybe not in Mid-South Madness, but first-time winner on the season here tonight. I think we have someone that's going to reach up there and really kind of pull a win off of some of these other guys that thought they had it tonight.
Yeah, I agree. And I got to back up a little bit, and I really appreciate you being here in the booth with me tonight. I know we've done a couple of these together before, and we've had a lot of fun with it. The guy that used to be in the booth was Thomas Rutherford, and he still does a nice little segment for us called TR's Corner, and he invited in last week's winner, Troy Dow, to sit down with him, and he may have invited a special little guest as well.
I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that.
Well, let's take a look and see what's going on with Troy Dow.
Hey, folks, welcome to TR's Corner. Tonight we got a special treat. We have Troy Dow with us. Troy, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm really good. So last season you hopped into MSM. You ran 2 races, right? You won 1, so you're batting 500. This is your first full-time season running with Stake Dance Racing and that stacked team they've got over there. Lots of good drivers. What do you think about the season so far? What are your thoughts?
I've really enjoyed it. The races have been good. Maybe a little caution riddled on a few of them, but that's understandable. But we've definitely had a good. I have a good time every Sunday running the league, and it's fun to run pavement because I run dirt on the weekends, and just the strategy of pavement is a lot more fun to me.
Yeah, and you've talked about running dirt, right? You do that in real life. I think you've got a couple of wins under your belt in real life doing that too. So how did you get into that?
Dirt racing, it's been in my family for my grandpa. He raced locally here in Memphis, and then passed down to my dad and my uncle. And they both raced up until my dad raced until I was 12. I ran a go-kart from the time I was 5 until the time I was 12. And then once I moved to big cars, my dad hung up racing and focused solely on me. I ran a non-wing 305 sprint car here locally. Eventually moved to wing 360 sprint cars, and then probably grew a little too fast in what we were doing. and had to sell out for about a year. And then when we bought back in, we bought into IMCA Modifieds, which is what my dad originally was running when he sold out. And now over the years, we've moved up again to late models.
Well, you've been running dirt. You've had some success there in real life. Going back to your success with iRacing and MidSouth Madness, I believe you were last week's winner at Dover. That was a pretty tough race. This is my first race back, so I was excited to be in the car. But, you had a really tight race going there with somebody else we know. It was a good victory. How tough was that victory to get?
It was hard, but I put in a lot of laps during the week. I ran more than I usually do between Wednesday or Tuesday and then Saturday afternoon and then Sunday afternoon. Just really put the time in and got really familiar with the car and the track and the setup. And I think it definitely paid off, but it wasn't without a lot of a lot of the stuff that you didn't see on Sunday. A lot of burning the tires off of it, hitting the wall. I mean, there was a lot that you didn't see.
Yeah, there was a lot of challenges with that race. I know we've all been putting in some laps this week. We've got Indy tonight. That's proven to be a pretty tough track. Lots of difficulties racing side by side. Some other difficulties being a fast 2.5 mile flat cornered track. What are your thoughts on the race tonight?
Indianapolis is going to be a little bit of what was important at Dover, and that is tire wear. Tire fall off is pretty big there. Working the pack, draft does come into play a little bit at Indianapolis, so you got to time your pass as well, and just again, got to keep the car straight. You can't burn up your fast repairs without early in the race, and then you got to have something left at the end. So.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. What were you going to?
Oh no, I just saying that I think that's the most important thing in most races, but especially in this one.
Yep, and I can tell you somebody else too who I think's been pretty fast at this track in Indy, especially this week. And I think he's going to join us now. But there we are. Is that Danny Dow jumping in on our call?
The one and only.
Hey, Danny, welcome. So a little surprise there from Troy. And I wanted to get you both together tonight. We've been talking about Troy's real-life dirt racing and some of the history there in the family. You got that big win in MSM at Dover last week, moving into Indy this week. I know how fast you are, but I can tell you right now, everybody watching at home, they want to know who's the better Dow.
You go ahead. I'll let you answer first. I mean, we all know what the answer. We all know what the answer is.
How did you finish last week?
Are we basing this on a week-to-week basis, or are we talking about all the time? Or
right, yeah.
I'll let you win. I gotta let you get a couple in every once in a while.
Right, yeah. That's what we'll call it.
Well, it's good getting you both on. And Danny, I appreciate you joining us tonight. A little surprise there for Troy and our viewers at home. I guess we'll take both of the bodies of work that each of you have, and we'll see who wins tonight in Indy.
Right.
That's right.
All right, guys, thanks for being on. Troy, really appreciate the time. We'll see you guys next time on TR's Corner.
Thank you.
All right, and there it was, Dow and Dow, both being interviewed at the same time. A little surprise for Troy there with his dad popping on there. But, Brandon, let's talk a little bit about Dow versus Dow.
Yeah, I think personally, from a racing standpoint, it's been a fun little rivalry to be a part of. I know I remember back last year at Pocono, the race we have coming up next season. Troy raced up there and stole one, and he actually found victory lane before his dad had found victory lane. So you see the stats there. They reflect a lot more to the Troy Dow side, who's ran a lot less races than his dad has, Sean.
Yeah, but, there's one thing that Danny has over Troy, really, and that is last season's championship. So Danny won the season championship last season, and Troy now has to try to work on that and get his own.
Yeah, and I think he's got a shot this year. He's among one of my personal favorites, so to speak, coming up in the championship. Of course, he's got a Season 2 win, so no matter what happens now, we'll see Troy running for the championship this year. And I think Danny's got one coming. Danny's been working hard. He's been, carrying the banner a lot for Team SRN, and I think he's got one coming. He's not going to let Troy outdo him, I don't think.
Yeah, and Troy's team is also doing really well in the standings. So Stake Dance Racing and then Team SRN, they're kind of trying to build their way back up. So let's take a look at those standings right now with the Stake Dance Team Championship standings. And so this is sponsored by Stake Dance. And if you don't know what Stake Dance is, it is a fantastic stake seasoning. Go to www.stakedance.com and pick up some stake seasoning there. It is absolutely phenomenal. But you can see here we got Striker Motorsports on top with 486 points. Stake Dance Racing just 1 point behind, Brandon.
Yeah, I think tonight might be the night with some of these guys. I've had the pleasure throughout a few weeks of talking with the Stake Dance Racing guys, and they've definitely got the drivers ahead to pull the championship lead away from Striker. Striker, we've seen Jake Roel and Dean Brummett find success here in this series, making up those 3 wins. The one outstand that I want to look at stat-wise on the points here, Sean, is you see down there in 7th, we talked about Danny Dow and Team SRN. They've got the second most amount of laps led that we see on the board here, yet they're down in 7th versus some of these guys who've punched wins being up closer to the top.
Yeah, man, just a lot of bad luck, and and Danny Dow has actually been the one that's been leading the way for Team SRN. I think he has about 85 of those 97 led laps, and so really great racers here. It's just they haven't been able to pull it all together. I'll give you another stat, Brandon. Who won last season's race at Indianapolis? Do you remember?
Going back, I think if memory stands me correct, it was the new driver for Thomas Rutherford.
That is absolutely correct. So Team SRN's newest driver, Thomas Rutherford, won last season at Indianapolis. This is a track that sets up perfectly for him.
Yeah, and I fully expect him to have a strong run here tonight. Got a name in mind, though, that we haven't seen so hot. I'm sure we'll get to our picks later, that has been speaking to me just throughout the broadcast and actually throughout the day. Haven't really seen him run, and not even 100% sure if he was able to make the race tonight. But we'll get to that here in just a bit and see if he's in the session and see if that's why it was speaking to me.
All right, perfect. Well, let's introduce ourselves to these fabulous teams here, and we'll start off with Striker Motorsports, our league leaders in points. So we got number 71, Travis Trevelyan, number 9 of Jake Roel, number 25 of Dean Brummett, and number 44 of Andrew Schroeder for Striker Motorsports.
Yeah, and that's a really strong, solid team. They've come together and they've bonded, and you can see the reflection of their 2 leaders and wins, so to speak, Dean Brummett and Jake Roel, really kind of showing true back to Travis Trevelyan and Andrew Schroeder, who have made major improvements from where we began, and I have to credit that a lot to just them being a cohesive team and teaching throughout the ins and outs of the way racing works here.
Absolutely. They had kind of an iffy race last week, but I think they may be right back on track this week. But the team that is hot on their tail is Stake Dance Racing. So the number 6 of Daniel Bowler, the number 8-12 of Chad Wampler, the number 2 of Troy Dow, who we just spoke to, and the number 39 of Stan Hausman.
Yeah, and this, I remember back when I was, hanging around the Discord and remember seeing this team being announced, and I knew right off the rip this was going to be a real solid team. And just a little bit of information, my pick comes from Stake Dance Racing tonight. So one of those 4 drivers you see on your screen right now is one of the guys I think we'll see reach victory lane tonight.
Well, they've got 2 wins in a row. It's really tough to pick against them right now, and I think I'm knowing exactly who you're talking about, and it's going to be a surprise to some people, but not to people that know what's going on. So,
yeah, it's I think we're exactly on the same. I think it's his time to shine. I believe he's coming out tonight, and I know he's probably been putting in a lot of work and getting things where they need to be, because more than anyone, it's been a frustrating season for him.
Absolutely. Well, Rev Racing, this team has been up in the top 3 all season long. They started off at the very top spot. They've kind of gone down a little bit, but now they're working their way right back up. 4 fantastic drivers. So Aaron Gerwitz in the 09, Brian O'Shell in the 54, Adam Pettit in the 57, and Sean Dice in the 87.
And this is a team, in my opinion, out of all that we see, that's never really had a weak link. They've been such a strong, solid race team. We've got them in neon green. We almost should have them like a neon orange, because when these teams come out, or when these four guys are out on the track, they're fueling off of one another. They're hot. One driver has a good run, it makes the other three surface, and this probably, in my opinion, is the hottest and strongest team we have running. Even though results don't have them at the top of team points, it's hard to beat any of these four guys, even on a bad night, Sean.
That's right. They don't quite have a win yet, but I don't see that happening for the entire season for sure. So next up, Flashpoint Racing. These guys have been on a tear. They had an incredible race last week. Now, they are without their leader, Justin Boyles, tonight, but we do still have the 66 of Jonathan Byer, the 62 of Matt Johnson, and the 00 of Marshall Stanley.
Yeah, and this team was a late entry into what we saw. But I remember also being around when Justin Boyles was trying to put this team together. I have the pleasure of seeing another race team by the same name that Justin Boyles runs, and he never, it doesn't matter the talent. You could be a terrible driver, and none of these guys are, but Boyles will get you on the team, he'll get you up to speed, and he'll get you there. So an excellent leader behind Flashpoint. Looking forward to seeing what these guys can do tonight as well.
That's right. Another driver that had a great run last week was Devin Zimmerman here with Tank Racing, and this is another team that could put on a show tonight. They are very good at these longer tracks, and that's exactly what Indianapolis is. So Tank Racing, that's the number 33 of Devin Zimmerman, the 555 of Derek De Silva, the 46 of Mike Lepicki, and the 79 of AJ Pritchett.
The flight squad is how I look at them. You think, and I Thomas before had made the same reference, referring to them as they're like thunder and lightning, so to speak. You see one of those cars with the stripe, and not too far off, you see the other three, and they all kind of got similar paint schemes, but they're always together, especially, as you said, on these longer tracks, which tonight is, where the draft comes into effect a lot, and it allows you to make up spots. I look for Tank to make a real impact tonight throughout the race.
That's right. Now, do-gooders, they lost one of their better drivers last week in a trade, and so Bobby Brill has left the team. But we still have 24, the number 24 of Taylor Smith, the number 90 of Corey Knight, the number 93 of Brad Yonkman, and another phenomenal driver joined their team last week, number 36 of Kyle Spees.
Yeah, and you have some names there that we've seen around the do-gooders for a while. I'm sorry, being in Taylor, Corey, and Brad, and all of those guys just kind of put on silent nights. They don't really make a whole lot of noise. They don't really cause a whole lot of commotion, but they're there. They're keeping their cars in contention. They're doing the things that they need to do. Now, as far as the bottom of that list there, you see the number 36 of Kyle Spees. I've had the pleasure of racing with Kyle Spees in just about every league that I've run in. It seems like Kyle Spees is there, and it seems like Kyle Spees is up front. Now, we haven't really seen that of him yet, but I can guarantee you at some point before this season's over, you'll see that 36 near the front and, causing some chaos, so to speak.
Well, Team SRN, they've been the ones to kind of talk about in the last couple weeks. They brought in Thomas Rutherford. He's actually in the 34 tonight. So then we have the 78 of David Duke, the 21 of Danny Dow, who, again, we spoke to just a little earlier, and the 17 of Danny Setzer as well.
Yeah, and this team here on paper, it's hard to bet against anyone guys on any. They're clean, solid, fast drivers, but arguably the worst luck in the league this season. We just, outside of Danny Dow, we saw like last week at Dover, we saw the 78 car lead a few laps, and he was fast, he was super quick, and he went back. He was back in traffic and never really made his way back up through there. Thomas Rutherford, I've always referred to him as the Iceman. When he gets in the zone, when he's taking away those laps and he's being fast, he doesn't make a mistake, and that's what's going to allow him tonight, I think, to be at the front and maybe bring a couple of those SRN cars with him.
H2K Motorsports, so Josh Witt in the 13, Justin Kruckman in the 19, the 42 of Duncan Staroska, and the number 88 of Joseph DuPont.
This here, another, and we don't really have, in the at they're not up to par with everyone else, because every single team has their strong points in some ways or another. This is probably the team that puts in a lot of work that people don't see, and it goes unnoticed, and they show speed. And their leader, typically Joseph DuPont, is the one to go by. You don't really hear him. He's another one of those drivers that doesn't really make a lot of noise. He's, ran solid last season. He's ran solid this season. And he never goes out front. He's never flashy, but he's always there. He's a lot like Kevin Harvick. We see a lot late in these races that he just pops up out of nowhere, and he's running solid, and he's had a little bit of bad luck. I remember seeing the race at the Roval where he got into some bad luck, kind of had a better finish going than what he got. But I think their time is coming as well. There's so much here that any week that we go into, another team can surface that we haven't really seen surface before.
Well, here's a team that surfaced last week. Bronco Motorsports came out of nowhere. They switched their name. They switched their attitude. They switched their car paints. They changed everything. The number 83 of Chris Massey, the number 84 of Greg Olnick, a new driver this week, number 85 of Brad Herman, and the number 1 of Bobby Brill, who has a win this year.
Yeah, and they've changed absolutely everything. And they're just hands down some of the see week in and week out. I remember back at the Roval, I think Chris Massey started shotgun on the field. He was dead last, drove up through the field at a track that's really hard to do so on. And, he had no caution help. It was just pure driving. And no matter how you shake it, every week you see Chris Massey up there. We saw Bobby Brill running at the front. Haven't got to see much of Brad Herman. Greg Olenick's been another guy that's kind of under the radar, hasn't really made a lot of noise for us here, but I think this team is probably the one to watch, because we really don't know what they're actually capable of. We could see these 4 drivers bust out and win the next 4 weeks, Sean.
Well, and then our final team out here, last but definitely not least, this is Jam Racing. So the number 5 of Mike Lewis, the number 317 of Brandon Arciero, the number 4 of Jay Graves, and the number 96 of Joe Ruggles.
This right here, this is a team that I want to take a second on. I know we've got an award to get later in the season called the Man's Best Friend Award, correct, Sean?
We do.
And that's, if I'm not mistaken, that's for the all-around, friendly guy in the league, correct?
That's correct.
If it was up to me, solely up to me, Jam Racing holds my guy for that clue. These guys are putting in work beyond the scene, and though we haven't really seen them at the front, one of the nicest, and I guarantee you the hardest working drivers in this league is the driver of that number 5 car, Mike Lewis, bringing his teammates. We've seen Jay Graves at the front. He doesn't seem to have the luck, but, they're working. They're working harder than a little bit of anyone out here. And Mike Lewis, buddy, if you're watching this back, go get him tonight.
Absolutely. Now, what are these guys driving for? Well, we've got the season-long payouts from Griffith CPA firm. So the Paints by Night Do-Gooders Safe Driver Award. So the safest driver out there, the one that gets in the fewest amount of incidents for the entire season, will get $50. The Brookstone Animal Hospital Man's Best Friend Award, what you were just talking about, that's $50 to the man's best friend, basically, and then plus $25 to the charity of the winner's choice. The Stake Dance Team Championship, we already talked about that. The top team in the league will get $200, and the season-long grand champion, first place overall in the playoffs, will take home $500. But tonight, they are still racing for other money, Brandon.
Yeah, and they've got a lot of money up for grabs here. And as you said right when you read off, the season-long champion's going to bring home $500. There's not a driver in here right now that I could say, everyone better watch out. They've got this on lock, because realistically, any of these drivers still, until the playoff starts, any driver in the field's got a shot at it. And even once the playoff starts, there's still not a surefire winner, but definitely do have a lot of money on the table tonight. We've got first place paying out $75 to the winner at Indy. Second place going to grab $40. Third place, $25. Fourth place going to bring home that crisp $20 bill. Fifth and sixth place are both going to net $15 apiece. And even if you have a solid night but not where you want, Sean, you're going to get $10 for seventh and eighth back there. Also down at the bottom, you see Paints by Night, Do-Gooders Clean Race bonus for any of these guys that can bring it home with the cleanest race possible.
Perfect. And so we are almost ready to go. Looks like they've got about another minute left to go in qualifying. Let's go ahead and thank our sponsors, Brandon. This is CMC Fabrication. They sponsored our first race at Daytona. They're sponsoring our last race at the Auto Club. And these guys have just been phenomenal. They hold the Talladega winner in the truck series as well. So they designed and built that car.
Yeah, and I've had the pleasure of floating around and talking coffee a little bit. Wonderful human being. So, Kurt, if you're out there watching us tonight, thank you for all you do for us, buddy.
And then Dent Wizard Smart Repairs. So if you have a dent in your car, Dent Wizard are the people to go for. Brookstone Animal Hospital. So looking for man's best friend or looking to take care of them, that is the place to go. Griffith CPA Firm. If you have any tax troubles at all, Griffith CPA Firm are the ones to talk to. Paints by Night, Corey Knight on Trading Paints. Definitely give him a follow. If you need any paints for your vehicles, then Paints by Night is the company to go with. Silverback Tax Solutions. So Griffith CPA Firm takes care of your tax returns. Silverback Tax Solutions takes care of your tax problems. So if you have a problem with the IRS, Silverback Tax Solutions, they can take care of it. And finally, Steak Dance. They're there for your steaks. Man, it is the best stuff in the world, and we've made a promise, Brandon, that if Steak Dance Racing wins a race, then we have to have a steak with Steak Dance seasoning the following night, and that's happened the last 2 weeks.
Well, it's only fitting that my pick's coming from Steak Dance tonight then, because I've been dying. I see all these guys talk about Steak Dance seasoning. You know, they've got the various different seasonings. If any of you guys are watching our pre-race show tonight that's driving for Steak Dance, I need you guys to get me a win tonight. I want an excuse to try me a Steak Dance steak.
Well, so tell me who your pick is.
Well, I'm glad he didn't grab the poll, but my pick's sitting right there. You see behind the screen. My pick's starting P2 tonight, Daniel Bowdler.
Yeah, that is a great pick. He's been working really, really hard. He is one of those racers that's towards the bottom of the standings, but at any time he could come forward and win a race. And so you see that beautiful number 6 car. But Jake Roel from Stryker Motorsports took the pole, so he will lead the way. Then Bobby Brill was in 3rd. Danny Dow from Team SRN up in 4th, and he wanted to make sure that we said this. He just sent something to us in Discord. He wanted to be sure that we said that the better Dow is on the qualifying board right now.
Well, I tell you one thing's for sure, though. It was down, further on in top 5 and such. He didn't get too far away from Troy, did he, Sean?
No, he didn't. So A.J. Pritchett's up in 5th. Dean Brummett from Stryker Motorsports in 6th. Troy Dow, there he is, in 7th, so not that far away. And then in 8th position, Devin Zimmerman. And go ahead and finish us off there, Brandon.
Alrighty, we've got Greg Olenek qualified in ninth spot. Brian O'Shell, I think is how we say his name, in 10th. Mike Lepicki, another one of the guys that's looking for a good finish here tonight, in 11th. Adam Pettit in the 12th position.
Man, it is going to be a fantastic race. You can see the cars getting ready to take on their one warm-up lap, and then we're going to get to the green flag. So you made your pick. I'm going to make mine. I'm going to go with my old broadcast partner, Thomas Rutherford. He won it last year. I think he can win it again this year.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. I'm interested to see what kind of race we have here, because if we have a turn of events, if we have a turn of luck, I will tell you, even though I've picked Daniel Bowdler in the 6 car, the guy that we spoke about earlier, the one to really watch if it turns into a long strategy race, is the guy starting somewhere near the back in that do-gooders number 36 machine. Kyle Spees is always, always, always in a fuel strategy race. And if I'm not mistaken, excluding Joe Ruggles, who we saw in load in late, Kyle will be at the back. So he's going to try to make his way from the back to the front, see what he can do with these guys.
Yeah, he's got a long way to go. He's got 75 laps to do it, and that is a long time here at Indianapolis. So plenty of time to make some moves, plenty of time to be patient. I'm not sure, Brandon. I just don't think these guys can be patient enough. What do you think?
I think you're exactly right. I think these guys are quick in their patience. Their patience is going to go out the ass, be up here, they want to run at the front, and I don't think it's a very patient race. So we'll see how that turns out, see how many guys we have make it through clean, and where it leaves us in about 75 laps.
Well, man, we are about to get to it. I think we're coming around the final turns. Pace car is going to dive off. And once the pace car dives off, then it's up to Jake Rowell to start us off. Brandon, get us started, buddy.
All righty, here we go yet again. As he said, Jake Rowell leads us to the green flag. He's on the pedal and boogity, boogity, boogity. We're green flag racing at the Indy.
And you can see people are already shuffling back in the back, but Jake Rowell just decides to take off. He's been good in the practice all week long.
Yeah, and I think he might have heard my pick and maybe your pick, and neither one of us said that 9 car, so he's going to try to run off here and prove it to us, and he's going to get a clean, little loose off a tune coming down the backstretch, but here comes Daniel Bowdler. I mean, he's really making some headway, trying to pull that draft back up to the 9 car. If I know anything about Daniel, the way I think I do, I don't think he's going to let that 9 car get too far away, Sean, and kind of same goes for that car that we mentioned back there from Bronco Motorsports. That's Bobby Brill in 3rd place, and I think he's going to have something to say about these guys before the racing gets too far, Sean.
Yeah, and Jake is holding his own up front. Bowdler, I think, is just kind of biding his time.
Yeah, and he's one of those drivers that's really worked on saving tires and conservation is not to. We know he's one of the fastest guys on the field week in and week out, but he's worked on not blowing through his stuff early, and I think that's going to go here to show. He's going to allow Jake, as we run green, to kind of make a mistake and fall back into his grasp, maybe ride side by side, single file with Jake, and really check out on the pack there as we see they're trying to do behind him.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's playing nice right now. Everybody's getting single file. Maybe they got the memo to kind of calm it down this week. We want some good green flag racing here at Indy.
Yeah, and honestly, I think tonight's the night that we've been clean this part or through the race now to come into take lap 3, and Indy's really one of our harder tracks to kind of stay green on like this, because those 90-degree corners, as we mentioned in pre-race, will sneak up and grab you quick. I mean, you never know what's coming on the other side of a turn, but really proud of these guys. We do have a battle back there. It looks like Danny Dow trying to prove more big on his statement of being a better Dow. He's trying to come through to the front. Not really seen. There he is coming into the screen later is Troy back there a few cars back, but Danny, really bringing those Speed Racing Network cars to the front so far.
Yeah, right on his tail is Bobby Brill. You can see the distance there. It is really, really close, and Bobby Brill is one of those that he is a very aggressive driver. He is a safe driver, but he is aggressive, and so he's going to put that pressure on and hopefully, for his sake, make Danny Dow use up some tires.
Yeah, and you're exactly right, and even got Dean Brummett. We know he wants to put the pressure on and join his teammate out front. We have the lead car behind him of Tank Racing, trying to bring those guys up into the mix. Just speaking solely for a second on Indianapolis, this track suits if any of these drivers well. It is Danny Dow. He's off it. Maybe a big wash down by Jake there. Going to get loose off of turn 2, able to gather that car back up and still hold it in the lead, Sean, but nonetheless allowing Bowdler to tighten it up a little bit.
Well, that is what every driver has been talking about this week, is that, man, it just gets so loose off that turn. You will see that all night long tonight, and it's going to be kind of strange because people almost have to slow down in order to get faster. Yeah,
and you're exactly right, and that's what I was about. The technicality in the Motor Speedway fit no driver better in this field than that of Danny Dow sitting in 3rd right now. He's a good, clean, technical driver that's really going to show these guys here as we get further into the race the technicality and fundamentals of Indianapolis, and I think that's what allows him to be the favorite in a lot of eyes here, Sean.
Yeah, well, let's take a look and see how our guys are doing here. So we still have Jake Rowell out front. We still have Daniel Bowdler in 2nd, trying to track him down. Danny Dow still back there in 3rd. Bobby Brill still in 4th. Dean Brummett still in 5th. So we're still just kind of holding true. Nobody's really making any big moves right now.
Yeah, I think it's really going to come down. Take lap 6 or the start of lap 6. I think a lot of these guys really want it to settle down and maybe be a full fuel run. And this is going to show, this is where it's really hard to prep for a Mid-South Madness race, is because at any given time, like we're seeing right now, you can bust out and have this big, long green flag run, or you can wind up in a spot where you have cautions on cautions on cautions. So how you prepare every week has to really be a little bit of both. You have to, we see Jake get, so loose again, but I can't say he's not driving that race car for all it's worth right now, but you kind of have to prepare for a little bit of both. You want to prepare for the long runs, the short runs, and the guys that do prepare for both are going to be at the front here if we stay green for a long time to come, Sean.
Well, this might be a gamble on these two on Jake Rowell and Daniel Ballard's part here. They might be using those tires an awful lot right now just to try to get out front, thinking that there will probably be a caution. But what if there's not one, Brandon?
Yeah, and that's the gamble, just as you said, a gamble, the perfect example of what they're doing. You see back there the third car that pops into some frames. This is a good one here. You see how far back he is. You can tell he's not pushing his tires, but I agree with you 100%. These two here, the 9 and the 6 of Rowell and Bowdler, I think they're well, that doesn't help the Jake Rowell machine. He's going to tag the wall a little bit. He's been flirting with it for a while, trying to stay ahead of that 6. But as you were saying, I think they're pushing the issue on those tires, hoping for a caution, knowing they're going to come down and get a set. And maybe, just maybe, right there we see Rowell maybe step a little too hard, going to tag the wall again that time. And it could be, these tires could be turning to mush here soon, Sean.
Yeah, man, and it's not going to take very long to do that. But we can see Danny Dow back there in third. He's going to try to catch Jake Rowell now. Jake is basically just going to try to hold on here until the first caution.
Yeah, at this point, he's just hoping he doesn't make that damage worse. And honestly, standpoint, the 6 car, he's a little bit out the window now. There's no sense in trying down. What you don't want to do is make that damage that you have worse. And right there from that shot, you can see it doesn't look terrible on the 9 car back there in the frame. But you definitely don't want to make it worse. You don't want to get it to a spot where, you have to come in under green and repair that damage because you're just not making pace speed. So not the worst thing in the world we could have saw. It could have went a lot worse for that Jake Rowell machine, but luckily he was able to gather it back up. And that's just, it's more or less of an ego thing, really. When you start on pole and you're out front, the guy behind you just hasn't caught you yet. You push a little bit harder to see what you got. Jake knows now what he's got, Sean, and he's just going to settle in and figure out the moves to win this thing.
Well, now Daniel has opened up a 1.3 second lead on Jake Rowell back there, and it looks like Danny Dow is starting to catch on, and there he goes. So Danny Dow is going to take the second position. Jake is begging for a caution right now.
Yeah, Jake doesn't want to fade too far because you see a couple cars back there. His teammate, he knew he was a little bit faster than his teammate and didn't really have anything to worry about. So his teammate's starting to close in. There we seen from that the right side of that car has a little bit more damage than we anticipated. And that's really what kind of worries me is how long we stay green. And a simple little mistake like we saw coming off of the corner could pay big for that 9 car, Sean.
Yeah, and Bobby Brill passes him as well, and so now Bobby Brill up in third place. Jake Rowell has dropped from the pole position all the way back to fourth place, all because of one little scrub of the wall.
Yeah, and I certainly don't think it's anything to kind of bat your eyes at right now.
No, yellow flag. Yellow flag.
Oh,
sorry.
Yellow flag on the racetrack.
And it is Jake Rowell.
Oh, no. Jake Rowell.
Jake Rowell.
Oh, no. Such a hard impact for...
Oh, and a huge hit.
Got another Bronco Motorsports car there involved in the accident as well, Sean. So a lot of good cars taken out by this one.
Let's go back and see if we can see something here. And you know what? We're going to back it up just a little bit more, Brandon, because this happened a little bit. So Troy Dow dips to the inside. Jake Rowell tries to cut down, and when he does, Troy Dow just gets into him, or I'm not really sure which side that's a fault of.
To me, if you can back it up just a hair more, and I think the fault there, the fault's going to be when you go right here. You'll see as we get down in the corner, Jake almost seems as if he's going to stay high and let the 2 car go. has his teammate to the inside, but then takes a late entry down across the nose of the 2 car. Not really sure, maybe a little bit of, obviously there wasn't a whole lot of communication, but a miscommunication, so to speak, with Jake seemingly allowing that 2 car to go, and that certainly wasn't the case.
And then Olnick hits him head on.
Yeah, that's not going to be good for either one of those. Smoke pouring out of it. I think we'll see some fast repairs down early here that maybe could pay big later in the race.
Well, let's see if Jake can get it back to pit road. If he cannot, then he is going to have to take a tow, which will put him at least a lap down if that happens.
I will say he was feeling very confident about 2 hours prior to the race and told me he was going to go win this thing. But as I said, my pick right now still holds that top spot. I just had a feeling about that 6 car tonight, and I think it's going to be the feeling to have, Sean.
Well, I think we're about to see everybody going down pit road. Everybody needs new tires here. Anybody that stays out right now is going to almost just be taking a massive risk.
Yeah, and it's not a risk of a game that I play right now. 11 laps, that's a big portion of the race that we run here, running only 75. So this could be the longest run we see of the night. So for some of those cars that really surface from the back to the front, they learned a lot. Some of those guys that were kind of riding still have a lot to learn. But, I think it's too big of a risk at any point when you see those front 3 or 4 drivers turning their way down pit road. I don't think it's worth the gamble unless you have a lot of help staying out with you.
Yeah, and let's see who's going to win this race off pit road here. So Daniel Bowdler obviously has the advantage. Let's see if he gets out of here first. He does. Looks like he is going to at some point inherit that lead back. But looking up front, just kind of seeing what we got up there. Somebody didn't pit.
Did we have a car stay out? Maybe a bonus point strategy there.
Mike Lewis
gonna try to get him a bonus point again. Probably likely, in my opinion, Mike will pick up a bonus point here, and we'll see him pit, or maybe just riding around Biden this time. As I said, my pick for the man's best friend award. He doesn't really get in the way a lot of times, and he's just out there learning all he can learn, putting in practice. So good to see that 5 car at the front, and I think before it's all said and done with, we'll see him start making some noise. But the one guy on the pit stops that I want to point out, Sean, that did not have a solid pit stop, that 21 of Danny Dow, pitted from the 2nd position. Looks like he's going to restart about 6th back there. So a little bit of a longer stop for the 21 machine. Not really sure what's going on there.
Yeah, rough pit stop there. Another driver that took a wave around, or took the lucky dog, is going to be Andrew Schroeder. He's going to get back on the lead lap, it looks like. But he pitted back on lap 6. So looks like we've got most of our guys still out there on the lead lap. But Mike Lewis looks like he's going to dip down. I think he missed pit road. So looks like he's going to inherit the lead here.
Yeah, and I thought for sure we'd see him pit there. I see Justin chat. The 2 ended up the nose in clean air, and Jake didn't expect it at all. That could very well be the case. A good technical call by Justin Boyles, buddy. I wish I saw that number 8 machine riding around out here. Works probably got you tied up, buddy. But we're trying to put on a good show for you, man, and see what happens here.
That's right, but man, it is. This is going to be an interesting restart with Mike Lewis up front. Nothing against Mike Lewis at all, but just with those tires that he has on there, 11 laps old here at Indianapolis, that is that's a recipe for disaster, I think.
Oh yeah, you're exactly
he's dipping
correct.
off. He's dipping off.
He likely asked for an EOL, not an strategy, so to speak, of being up there. As I said, that goes to show right there. Mike Lewis didn't want to mess anyone up. And again, as you said, it's not really a dig at Mike Lewis. You could have left Bowdler out there, who we've seen be fast on the racetrack with those old tires, and it's not a good idea at this point, Sean. Like, these guys are still only 11 laps fresher, but that's a lot here at Indy.
Yeah, these tires go away so quickly, and that's why there are so many wrecks here. Those people that think that racing on iRacing is an easy thing, it is a simulation, but it is not easy at all.
Yeah, I had a buddy of mine real quickly here. He told me, we'll skip to this story after the restart, Sean. Get us going here.
Sounds good. It looks like Daniel Bowler is going to take the inside. Dean Brummett's going to be up there on the outside. So Daniel Bowler has the green. And there he goes, taking the green flag. And he is going to build just a little bit of a lead on Dean Brummett. Not sure how long that lead's going to last, but we saw in that first little segment, he was very good on the short run.
Yeah, he was trying to take these guys to another zone. Dean's a guy that we really don't see that, but right behind Dean, we see Devin Zimmerman in that 31 machine surfacing toward the front here. So
yeah,
a lot of racing to be done.
Yeah, Devin Zimmerman last week took second. So he has been on a tear this season. He is up in the playoffs in points right now. He is looking to solidify that and take home a win.
Yeah, and I definitely think that's possible. We've seen speed out of all of those tank racing guys, and just as soon as the luck's not like a black cloud over their head, I think we'll see one of those guys punch through. And for a lot of these races, Zimmerman's kind of led the way for those guys. And right now you look for the skunk stripe, as Rutherford often referred to it, and you don't see a whole lot of them up there. I think we've got maybe a little picky further back. Maybe that is. I think that's going to be picky. So those guys still got a lot of chasing to do to catch their teammate in the front of this pack. But real quick, I do want to give a shout out to the 23 people we have watching right now. Don't be afraid to smash the subscribe button, smash the like button, and make sure you guys tune in for us here.
All right, well, let's take a look. Looks like we got somebody off the track back in the back. I think that's Jonathan Byer. Oh, and he is a little out of control. Let's see if he can save it and keep the caution from coming out. I think he does. So just a little bit out of control there, and that's really all it takes here is just to get a little bit out. He's going to have to get that thing back up to speed. Hopefully he can do that safely.
Yeah, and that was an excellent, beautiful save there by him. There's got a lot of race. Luckily he didn't do that, so that's huge.
Yeah, and it looked like Chris Massey trying to make that pass cleanly, trying to get around that car. But Jonathan Byer usually a very, very quick racer, so I don't think he's going to let it go too quickly.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think that, he'll still be able to gather that back up and really show these guys what kind of speed's in that car.
Well, back up front, looks like Daniel Bowler is up there again. And it looks like Dean Brummett is trying to track him down. Oh, we got a yellow flag. Let's go
Yellow
back.
flag on the racetrack.
Oh, and it looks like, Chad Wampler. One of our race winners, into the wall. And
yeah, one of those stake dance guys that we see each and every week, running great. Not really having a lot of good luck tonight here. Kind of joining Jake Rowell, so to speak, in the list of drivers that not going so hot for at Indianapolis.
Well, let's go back and see if we can figure out what happened. And it's just looks like I believe that's Brian O'Shell was just kind of on his inside. Not sure what came from that. It's just, they're just racing hard right next to each other. Looks like O'Shell kind of gets up there and just kind of gets into his left bumper. But it looks like everybody is okay. Looks like, except for Chad, I don't see anybody else get involved there. So at least that's just a kind of a single car caution there. But not going to be very happy for Wampler for sure.
Yeah, no, and you're exactly correct there, Don. I mean, it's not an incident that you want 17 laps into the race tonight, but I definitely think Wampler has a lot of time left in this race to kind of bring it back and really show what that 8-12 car is made of as well.
Well, like I said, he's already got one race win this season, so he doesn't necessarily need this win, but it's always nice to have another one under your belt.
Yeah, once you get the first win out of the way, it's really one of those things. You see like Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin have been doing in real life as of late. You just knock them off, man. You want to win every single week. You want to take these things and run away with it. So we'll see if that's what happens here tonight.
Well, it looks like about half the field is pitting, so it looked like the back half was pitting. But let's see if we can't get Daniel Bowdler up here and tell us what's going on up in his car.
I think that's definitely a great time to do that. Let's go ahead and bring him up and see what we can poke his brain for here, Sean.
Daniel Bowdler, Sean and Brandon up here in the booth. How's it going, buddy?
Pretty
good deal. Well, we were just talking about how great of a run you're having, especially on the short runs. What is your car doing right now?
I think it's doing the same as everybody else's car. It's a dump truck getting in, and it's a skating rink getting out. So I think everybody's in the same boat.
Well, I definitely think you've showed the speed in that number 6 machine, buddy. And just a real quick story for you here, leading into some information I got for you. But on race day, when it comes down to me calling a race, I kind of think about the odds and ends of the race and see what driver comes to my mind of being fast here. And I told Sean here before the race that the 6 car spoke to me all day, and I think tonight, buddy, is your night to turn it around. So good luck to you. Keep the nose of that 6 car clean and keep going as fast as you're going.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I hope we can get it turned around here. It's been a pretty frustrating year. I missed 2 races, made 4 of them, and out of all them 4, I finished I think lower than 30th in 3 of them, so we got to work that out for us here if we're going to make the playoffs. So
one thing's for sure, buddy, as you lead us back here, I think coming to 1 to go this time, one thing's for sure, you can only go one direction, and that's up. So, I definitely think that you'll be a solid pick in a lot of people's eyes for the playoffs, and really making some noise here late in the season, and you're showing that here tonight. What's it like, as we see, taking the 1 to green, as we said before, what's it like knowing that, you're out front, not back there in the hornet's nest like you've been every week so far?
Oh, it's pretty relieving. I definitely wanted the best qualifying spot I could. I told my guys here before the race, I said, I think there's only 2 people that are safe going into turn 1 from somebody collecting them in a wreck, and I said that was the front 2 people on the start there, because we had the ability to wreck everybody else. So I think out front's the best place we can be, and hopefully we can keep it here.
All right, buddy. Well, we're going to send you back down. I know we're coming to about half a lap to go here, so we don't want to bug you. So we will send you right back down to your team, and good luck.
Yep, thanks, guys.
Good luck, buddy.
All right, Brandon. So here we come back to the green. Bowdler out front, Brummett up in second, and then Zimmerman up in third, and Danny Dow up in fourth.
Yeah, we see a little bit of a checkup there by some of these guys as they're getting lined up. They're ready to go back racing. They're half a lap short of the green flag dropping, but a lot of these names we've seen up here at the front, aside from the 33 of Zimmerman, we've seen up here the whole night. So Zimmerman's making some headway. He come up after that pit stop, and he hasn't really faded. He's really been at the front. So big restart coming here.
That's right. And so Daniel Bowdler will be in charge of the green here. But Dean Brummett, who already has 2 wins this season, is going to be up there and pushing on him.
Yeah, and Dean's one of those drivers you can never stay lax on. He's always quick, but we're going to see the pace car here this time coming off the track. Daniel Bowdler with a field of hungry cars behind him, back on the loud pedal and pulling away yet again. A great restart, though, by the outside. The 25, Dean Brummett and company behind him. Going to make it single file for the first 2 spots, leaving Danny Dow and Devin Zimmerman to battle it out into turn 1. Looks like Danny's going to take that spot, Sean.
Well, yeah, and just be really cautious here, because cautions breed cautions. We hear that every single week on NASCAR themselves. So when all these cars get bunched up here, it's likely to happen. But Brummett looks like he's going to dive back in and get in line.
Yeah, I thought he was going to make a peek there and try to challenge the 6 car, but he's realized now that 21 car of Danny Dow has closed the gap. He's brought it up. He's not going to let these guys walk away this time. Now can be the 21's time to shine. I just wonder, what amount of mirror driving is the 6 car doing right now, seeing those guys a lot closer than he's used to behind him.
I bet he's doing a ton of it, and that's really dangerous here. I mean, if you get even just a little bit out of whack at this track, then you are going to end up in either the inside or the outside wall.
Yeah, and it's not. It doesn't take much of a mistake to kick the back end of that car around, and they're a little bit tighter here than we see some of the other style of cars, being the Cup and cars like that running here. They're a little bit more on the loose side, but even a mistake here where you pick up the throttle wrong, you pick it up at the wrong time, the back end slides around, you're looking in the mirror, and that's it. You know, you gather it back up somewhere in the back, and we don't want to see that for any of our guys. Hopefully, you know, they'll settle in and ride. Still a lot of racing left, and you want to be as close to the front as you can late, but you don't want to mess it up while you're up there, John.
Well, take a look at Daniel Bowler here working the wheel on the exit. You can see how much that car floats and how little that wheel does at that point.
Yeah, and that's really it. You know, I see Justin Boyle yet again here. It's so hard to pass in these cars, and you're exactly right. You know, in the Cup cars when we're running here at Indy, you know, you got such a pull to the car in front of you. You got a lot of suck, as they call it, and close that gap quick. You don't really have that. So when these cars come out on exit, you really have to angle the car at the perfect time, get the nose pointed in the right direction, and hope that you've pointed it better than the guys behind you. But I just saw a car, Sean, come into frame there that has surfaced his way back to the top 5 that we saw in some trouble earlier. If there's anyone driving hard, it's that 9 car right now. He knows he made a mistake early, and he's trying to dig his way out of that hole.
Yeah, and Jake Rowell loves to be at the front. He is not that person that just is going to sit back if he has the opportunity to go. And so here he is. He's got that opportunity. He's got the fresh tires. He's got a brand new car with the fast repair. He is on the move. He is up in 5th, and he is tracking them down.
He's one of those drivers I tell all the time. I'm like, man, you've got to be a Kyle Busch fan. And he says, nah, he said, I like Chase Elliott. You know, in my opinion, in my standpoint, he's just like Kyle Busch. You know, he doesn't come out here to ride around in 5th. He doesn't come out here to finish 2nd. He comes out here to win each and every week, lead all the laps if it was up to him, you know, and not really take 2nd place at all. But he's driving the wheels off of that car. We see him dive there underneath Zimmerman, and he's got 2nd, 3rd, and 4th right in his sights and trying to get back to the front where we saw him start this thing.
And Zimmerman does a smart thing and kind of backs off a little bit, lets him go past. If he tried to race him into that corner, that could have been disastrous.
Yeah, and he actually almost kind of let him have a crossover here. Jake gave up the bottom, so Zimmerman, I agreed with you there when you said it. You know, I thought he was going to let him go and just kind of settle in, but smart thing to do for Zimmerman, just as he does, is tuck behind the 9 car, let him go up there, maybe follow him up to the 2 cars in front of him. We see them racing side by side now. Dean trying to make the pass back on Dow, but I think, you know, you just follow him through, trying to get the 2nd, maybe even follow him to the back bumper of the 6 car if possible. Kind of go from there, Sean.
Well, we're not up front right now, but now we are 2 seconds away from 2nd place, and so that is why we're not really focusing on 1st place right now. He has completely checked out.
Yeah, he's come. He's brought his Sunday night cruise of the weekend. He's brought it to MidSouth Madness here tonight, and he's under no pressure. He's got that 6 machine cranking. And I think the bad news I have for Jake Rowell ticking off these spots back here and moving up the field is if there's any driver that when he knows you're fast in his mirror, he's going to drive that much harder. It's the one that we see out front right now. He's going to drive so much harder. And every spot that Jake gains is harder that Daniel's searching for that speed. Even in the lead, he's trying to find faster and faster lines, and he does not want to see that 9 car get any bigger.
Well, this is the race on the track right now, the battle for 2nd. And so it looks like that 2 teammates, got Dean Brummett and Jake Rowell, kind of teaming up there trying to pass Danny Dow, but Team SRN is holding firm.
Yeah, and Danny's got the technical line that you want here. You know, they've got the cars down there drafting, so on the straightaways, they're going to be way faster. But in the corners, Danny's able to get that nose pointed, get a run off the corner, and just really kind of rocket up off the corners and kind of equalize the speed. But we see Dean kind of give way there a little bit. He decided he'd had enough racing for lap 25 of the race, and he's kind of fallen back a little bit.
Yeah, and Jake Rowell, I mean, just like that, he jumped from way back all the way up into 4th place.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. Again, want to give a shout out to Justin Boyles. That one had me laughing a little bit here. You're right. He doesn't pitch as many fits as Kyle does when he wins. So still, nonetheless, hates 2nd place. But it's been a rough season to be a Kyle Busch fan so far. Been a rough season to be a Speed Racing Network driver too. Danny's doing all he can to turn that around here tonight with a bunch of hungry and fast race cars behind him.
Well, here's a guy we haven't talked about all night yet. Adam Pettit up there in 7th place. Very, very consistent driver. He is up there in the 57 car, in that nice orange car, and he is trying to push towards lead as well.
Yeah, and he's going to be one of those drivers, one of the smarter league. And by all means, you know, every single driver we see here each week is smart, but Adam Pettit's smarter than a lot of those guys. And the reason I say that is because he knows how easy it is to press the gas pedal here and go and get these guys in front of him, and he'll be the second place car, but he's not really doing that. We still have a little under 50 laps to go, so any mistake that any of those guys make in front of him, Adam Pettit doesn't want to be a part of that. He just wants to let him make the mistake and take the spot away. Great technical driving so far from that Adam Pettit machine.
Well, I'm going to jump around just a little bit here. So my pick back there in 17th place, he is back there in the middle of the pack. Really tough to get out of that area, but Mr. Consistency himself, Thomas Rutherford, back there now in 18th. He's just kind of hanging on.
Yeah, and that's really all, you know, he can do back this far. I think, you know, got the teammate of David Duke who's running pretty decent here. I think they'll come up with a strategy that'll surface those cars that we don't see at the front. You know, oh no, we caught it live. Great save so far by the 812 of Chad Wampler there. I think he made it to the access road, but yeah, beautiful save by that 812 machine. Not really having the night he wants to have, just trying to stay out of the way now and regain the speed that he lost. But back to, you know,
and huge wreck up front. It looked like Jonathan Byer.
Someone's still bouncing around, flying all over the place. Oh, Chad involved. That's a motor down for Chad. Interesting to see what happened there. It looked like those guys had it pretty well gathered up, but
well, let's go back for a wreck replay and find out what's going on back there.
I definitely think some of those guys are going to need to contact.
Oh, that looks like Byer and the 83 of Massey.
Massey. Oh, man.
Oh, Byer goes over the pit wall. Unbelievable.
Like Wampler there. See a lot of these guys getting slowed down. Not really sure. You know, that's a product of racing hard here. We see Massey gather it up. Looks like he's okay. Looked like a little bit of misjudgment by Byer there. Maybe thought he was clear of that 83, and they were doing some serious speed down the front straightaway and wasn't really able to get clear there. I definitely think we need to get these guys a number to Dent Wizard. Let them give a call and try to get those cars fixed.
I'm not sure if Dent Wizard can handle flipping over a pit wall there. That is an absolutely crazy crash. You know, let's go back to that and let's take a look at it from the cockpit.
Hopefully no one is tuning in watching in VR, because this is about to be a nauseous experience.
Oh my goodness. That's huge hit.
I felt that one in the pit of my stomach just seeing that one there, but whew, I saw there. Can we get a shot real quick back on the 83 machine, Chris Massey? The point that I wanted to make, these cars are designed to be straight as possible here, and after this wreck, you see it skewed the whole body of that 83 machine. So we know that was a hard impact, even from his standpoint, even harder when he gets hit there by the 812. But man, a lot of damage to a lot of cars that, you know, we had a lot of faith in and ability to bring it to the front here later in this race.
Yeah, really tough hit, and you can see that car is not going to be driving straight for a while.
No, that's going to be a fast repair down for the guys than that wreck. And I don't think this is a time where you'd say, well, you know, maybe we'll save it. You don't want to take that chance, because I mean, you see there the 66 machine missing his front end, his rear end. The 83 was all beat up. We saw Wampler's 812. It was smoking, and just all kinds of damage there for those guys. But the race on pit road here, maybe can someone finally dethrone that 6 machine off of pit road here? Jake's been making a headway. If there's anybody that's going to do it, it's going to be Jake as we come here off of this pit road. A little bit of a jump for the 6, though, to be, you know, earlier in the box, being the leader. So left side's up on that machine. It's going to come down. He's going to rock it off. Doesn't look like he's contested, though.
Nope. Looks like number 6 is going to be right back out front again. And once again, we have Mike Lewis that stayed out as well. And so last time around, he stayed out. I think he got the point for leading a lap. And then he chose to take an EOL penalty, so he didn't get in everybody's way. I'm wondering, is he doing the same thing?
You know, I'm not really sure. I thought, you know, I agreed with what Boyle said earlier, you know, and maybe, you know, he was trying a little bit of strategy. Obviously, as Boyle said, you want to take 2 tires here to loosen up that car, kind of give you a little bit more bite. But certainly on these older tires, I don't know that the strategy is to be up front on old tires. But, you know, I'm an avid believer in that 5 machine and his ability to drive. So, maybe he knows something we don't, Sean. Maybe he's got something in the tank here. And realistically, I guess if you don't pitch, you don't get caught up in anything. You go to the back, you run a little bit slower. You have both fast repairs late in the race, and maybe you can gain some spots.
Maybe that's what he's trying to do, is just kind of keep those fast repairs in his back pocket. And honestly, that's not a bad strategy.
No, you're not down there juggling with these guys on pit road and racing off. And when you have the older tires, you go to the back and you're out of the way, you're clear of everyone else, and you kind of pit on your own will. You don't really take anyone else's decision, to be your own. So maybe we'll see. Maybe he'll lead us to green here. He might not get out of the way this time. I guess we will find out though and see what's going on. We are 1 to green, so we should be finding out rather quickly what's going on with that 5 machine.
Yeah, and this is where he took an EOL last time around. Let's see if he does the same thing. Not really sure what the strategy is there if he doesn't.
Looks like he might.
I think he's staying out there.
I think he's going to stay here, and that's going to pay huge to make sure, if I'm a team captain of any of these guys on that bottom line, even Daniel Bowdler, he, being the team captain there, I'll let you guys know, hey, we've got old tires up here on the front. There's nothing wrong with Mike Lewis being there in the front, but, just want to let him know, hey, we've got old tires up here in the front. He's going to be obviously slower. Knowing Mike Lewis doesn't want to, mess anyone up. Going to stay down out of the way and kind of let these guys run their race. But you still have to know that above all else, that 5 car is there, Sean.
Yeah, you got to know that there's 12 laps of tire or 12 lap old tires there, and we've seen from even the leaders, even Jake Rowell, that 12 lap old tires don't work.
Yeah, and that's for certain. And it's interesting, though, and it's going to be fun to call Mike Lewis on the restart here and just hope for all the guys behind him that he doesn't spin the tires. I know he's been working hard on his restart ability, his driving ability, his racing ability, everything like that. I don't think there's a guy out here working harder. So we'll see this time. A beautiful shot from the drone cam we saw there. Man, that was a beautiful shot.
There you go. We'll let you have this one, and your pick for the Man's Best Friend Award so far this season, Mike Lewis, going to bring us to green. Go ahead.
All righty, we saw the pace car get out of the way of all these hungry cobbers. Mike Lewis with a great restart, already back on the loud pedal. Some shifting going around behind him, but Mike's over here to the left, going to kind of let these guys go single file, I believe, on the outside, try to stay out of the way. The 6 car's clear, the 21's clear. Going to be a little bit of a stack up behind them, though. Jake.
Oh.
Yeah, again, back to the Man's Best Friend Award. This is what you see here of Mike Lewis. He easily could have drove it down into that corner, blocked all the guys behind him, and said, hey, you guys figure it out. Staying off to the left, let these guys go, and not really hold them up. Didn't want to mess up anyone's race or cause them any damage. But back out front, the drone cam shows it to you live here. We see the 21 car track it down. That 6 car, and this has been the story of it so far, Sean. We see guys get about this close to the 6 machine. That's really as close as we've seen since he's taken the lead away from Jake Rowell after the incident. He's kind of been out front and just pulling hard on these guys.
Well, he is one of those that he is tough to catch up to if he gets out front, and there he is. And so, you know what, Brandon, we haven't done this yet tonight. Let's pull up the Brookstone Animal Hospital mole hole cams.
Oh, yeah, I think curious to see. Oh, there it is. I think we're going to have a lot of drivers speeding right across this here. We'll see if we can catch some of the numbers as they go by.
I can hear them coming.
There they come.
Here they come.
All kind of them down in the corner here, Sean. Just right. We see the different lines there, too, the guys were running. Some hit the mole hole, some didn't. Just beautiful shots down on the apron there, almost on the apron.
Oh, caution, caution.
Big wreck back there. You saw it from the mole hole. A lot of guys involved in that one yet again.
Looks like Sean Dice in the 87 is involved. Looks like Schroeder is involved from Stryker Motorsports. A lot of damage there. Let's see if we can't figure out what happened there.
Yeah, and I definitely think that was just a product of getting later in this race and seeing what's going on. Running out of time. Really, I mean, I know we've got a lot of racing left, but almost half the field. Ooh,
it looks like Sean Dice just gets a little loose. he goes up into the wall all by himself, but the other cars coming behind him. Not a lot of room for Adam Pettit. Here he comes. He is going to try to get away from it, but he hits his own teammate there. Obviously not on purpose. Looks like all sorts of damage back there. So Kyle Spees in the 36 got involved there. We will take a better look at this. This is going to change things.
Yeah, chaos everywhere there. And really this here could be what Mike Lewis was trying to avoid. You know, he didn't want to. Man, he just snapped loose right in the middle of the corner there.
Yeah, but he just goes for a big spin.
Man, he just couldn't get out of the way quick enough there. I mean, you see I think Pettit right now is going to be the only Rev Racing car to come through. Oh, no, Pettit got it. Every Rev Racing car is going to have some sort of damage now. I think Gerwit's damage didn't come from that wreck, but you'll see that that car also has damage on it there. You see it coming into the frame, but man, that's a tough hit for all of the Rev Racing guys there. But if we know anything about them, they'll bounce back and they'll be back at the front soon enough. Well,
I saw Adam Pettit kind of leave the track there, so let's see if we can't see what happened to him specifically. Oh, he's up in the air. Yeah. Just
the same as his teammate there, man. He just couldn't get out of the way quick enough. You know, once you get hit like that, there's really not a whole lot you can do. You know, you're just holding on, trying to hope that guys navigate around you. So that one there, you know, it took a lot of our fast repairs down. Big shout out. I see Ginger Tripp come out sending a high five, it looked like, in the chat there. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of the chaos that's been Indianapolis so far.
It has definitely been chaos, but up front, the consistency has been there because we have Daniel Bowdler still up front. Danny Dow, who we spoke to on the broadcast a little bit earlier, he's up there in second, and Jake Rowell, our pole sitter, up in third. So the consistency is there, but kind of in the back of the pack is where we're getting a little bit antsy.
Yeah, and those guys know, you know, being at the back here at Indy, getting later in the race. Obviously, you know, we can pick any driver in the top 5 right now. Even Devin Zimmerman sitting in 6, AJ Pritchett in 7. Those guys are up here. They've got, you know, they're within reach of it. Those guys we saw back there around where some of those Sean Dice and all those guys were running had to make some moves, and they had to make those moves right now, Sean. And unfortunately, you know, pushed the race car just a hair too hard. Nothing, you know, he may have not done anything wrong, just kind of got a little loose and pushed just a hair too hard. You know, just an honest mistake that anyone could make. We can see any one of these drivers, our leader, you know, second, third, fourth place, any of those guys can make the same mistake. And we hate that for those Red Racing guys because they've been solid, they've been running hot, but they'll rebound hard and get back up here. Probably, you know, same thing. Fast repair down, but they're going to do the same thing. They're going to be racing hard. They're trying to pick off these spots and get back through the field.
Well, let's run through the top 10 here really quick. So we got Daniel Bowdler up front in that CMC Fabrication Stake Dance Racing vehicle there. And then we have in the Silverback Tax Solutions car, Danny Dow for Team SRN. Then in third, we have Jake Rowell from Stryker Motorsports. He was our pole sitter up there in the Stryker Motorsports number 9 car there. Then Bobby Brill, the newest teammate over there at Bronco Motorsports. Beautiful paint job there. I think that was done by Devin Zimmerman as well. And so Bobby Brill there for Bronco. And then in 5th position, we have Dean Brummett at Stryker Motorsports as well.
Yeah, and in 6th place there, we saw the Devin Zimmerman 33 machine, followed by his teammate in 7th place, AJ Pritchett. In 8th place, the guy that we haven't really talked a whole lot about running a silent race so far, David Duke from SRN. Last week's winner, Troy Dow in the 9th place machine. And yet again, another guy we haven't heard much of here, Stan Houseman in 10th. But I want to go one position further, Sean. Go on one more back there to that next car. The Iceman, your pick of the race, is finally surfacing his way. He's one spot out of the top 10, and he's coming, Sean.
Yep, he's gained 5 spots already. I'll tell you, the biggest mover out on the track is David Duke. He has picked up 26 spots already.
And that goes back to being, you know, the technical racetrack that we talked about. All the guys at SRN are fit by that technical driving ability of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And we're seeing those cars, you know, finally have some decent luck here as we get, you know, about halfway into this race.
Yeah, and it looks like we're about to go back to green again. Daniel Bowdler up front, just like he's been all night long, and he is going to try to stay up there. Not an easy task with those three or four guys that are right behind him, but pace car is going to dive off. Take us to the green, Brandon.
Alrighty, yet again, Daniel Bowdler waiting to pick up the loud pedal, trying to get away from these guys, and he can do just that. Danny Dow, Jake Rowell, and he's saying, hey, you guys battle it out back there. I'm driving away again. Striker Motorsports trying to make some shifty moves here. We saw Dean Brummett look underneath the Bobby Brill machine there for a moment, but he's decided to settle back in, mostly one by one back through there.
Oh, back on yellow, back on yellow.
I knew that wasn't going to last long. The cautions breeding cautions, and guys digging all they could get. I saw the front 7 or 8 get single file, but it didn't happen later.
This is back towards the back of the track. Oh, it looks like Aaron Gerwitz and Josh Witt kind of get into it a little bit. Mike Lewis gets tagged. Man, there goes that strategy of staying clean.
Again, man, just couldn't get away from that one. Almost clear the 87.
Yeah, Sean Dice. So 3 of the 4 Rev Racing drivers up there in the wreck again.
And not really a whole lot done wrong there. If I had to call that one just watching it, if I was the 13 machine, I'd say he heard clear inside, and that was it. It was too late.
Well, you can see, yeah, I mean, not really sure what to blame on that one, but just hard racing. And so the 83 of Chris Massey gets involved in another wreck here. And so, again, not his fault, but, man, just cautions and cautions and cautions. Schroeder, again, into the outside wall. So a few of these guys have already seen a couple of wrecks. Oh, man, it is not going well out here, especially in the back of the track.
Yeah, and I think, yet again, I agree with Justin Boyles, what he's saying down there. I think we're going to see a lot of cautions here now because these guys are halfway through the race. That lap there took us over halfway, and a lot of these guys know that they're faster than, you know, if you're running in 17th and you know you're a 12th place car, you got to get all you can get while it's early. That's the bad part is that we're going to see, man, Adam Pettit, I just saw that again out of the corner of my eye there. Just not so solid luck for him there. We see him smoking, but I think we do see a lot of cautions from here to the end, and not necessarily, you know, these guys didn't forget how to drive. These guys didn't, you know, they didn't just give up on trying to run a clean race, but they know that they're faster than this. You know, you got cars back there at the back. We saw there the Revs Racing cars. We know they're all top 10 drivers in the league, and they're not having that solid of a race, and they're coming forward. They're moving forward faster than some guys are expecting, and you see contact, and it's downhill spiral from there, Sean.
Well, I'll tell you 2 teams that are having a solid race. So Stake Dance Racing, they have 3 of the top 10. So they have Daniel Bowdler up there in 1st. They have Troy Dow back there in 9th. And then 10th, Stan Hausman. So 3 of the top 10 are Stake Dance Racing. But the other team that's up there, Team SRN. So Danny Dow up in 2nd place, David Duke in 7th place, and then Thomas Rutherford. He's not in the top 10. He's in the top 11, but Thomas Rutherford up there in 11th. So a couple teams duking it out here.
Yeah, and I know just as a standpoint of knowing the position that SRN has been in this season and how fast those guys are and the luck that they've had, you know, that was a sigh of relief even for me, you know, let alone the driver of these 4 cars, that when they look back at, you know, lap 39 and they're all up there in the top 11. But can we one more time there, can we get that shot of the back half of the field off the front of Bowdler's car, because there's another set of teammates here. We get you can't quite see them all there. You see the skunk stripes yet again back through there. You got Zimmerman.
Oh, here, let's jump back there. Here we go.
There you go. So you start to see here David Duke's kind of in a tank racing sandwich here. We've got Michael Pickey a couple rows back from these guys. So that's another team that's starting to surface here later in this race. And just as we said, you know, you'll almost see them all in a line, really. You know, starting 6th, 8th, and a couple spots back from there. I think Pickey's running back about the 12th spot right now. So a lot of guys here really showing their teamwork coming forward. I think the top 10 is made up of mostly teammates. I think the lone driver up there without a teammate somewhere near him right now is going to be Bobby Brill. All the other guys that are up there have at least one teammate or another somewhere around them, you know, within a few spots. So really interested to see how that pays out, you know, as you start, you know, maybe some of the faster cars from the back moving up and saying, hey, you know, you're a teammate. Let me kind of have that spot there.
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen this pretty much all season. There are 3 or 4 teams out here that every week they have, and it's different teams each week, but they have 3 or 4 guys up there in the top 10, top 15. And so this is definitely a team aspect, even though it is one driver in a car. There's definitely a team feel here.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of Mid-South Madness. You know, you can any given day. You know, there's not you can look down the leaderboard. You know, you can look down the standings. There's not a driver on there that's showing up and running these races that you can't say, you know what, this week's his week. You know, you're not going to say, he'll be at the back like he always is, because any driver's been up through the field. You know, they've been shuffling and different drivers coming in, going out, just a constant back and forth. So, I mean, there's so many drivers here that can reach up. Even still, yeah. You know, we saw the 6 car be seemingly untouchable. Some guy that we haven't talked about could play strategy and steal it away from him later.
Yeah, and right now he's looking untouchable, I'll tell you that. So, again, very front of the pack there, and he is not trying to let that go at all. But we are going to come back around here. The pace car is going to dive off, and we are going to allow Daniel Bowler once again to take us to the green, Brandon.
He's been flawless on the restarts all night. Probably got his Superman cape somewhere in the race car with him. Daniel Bowdler yet again leading us off to a restart. He's hard on the loud pedal. Going to cross the start-finish line. Green yet again. Been the only driver that gets to bring us back from a restart since the original start with Jake Roel. And those guys behind him, they're throwing punches. They're beating. They're banging. They're not giving up. They know that this 6 car's driving away, Sean, but they're going to be the one to track them down.
Well, keep in mind, there's still money on the line. Even if first place gets away from you, second place still pays out a pretty good amount of money. So, especially for what we have in iRacing. So definitely, there's always money out there. There's always decisions to be made. So this is not first place or nothing. This is first place through 8th place.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. You know, and for a lot of these guys, you know, running in the top 10, right where they're at right now is right where they want to be. They, you know, you've got some back there further, you know, like we'll say David Duke, for example, who hasn't really had a whole lot of luck this season in being at the front. Obviously, he'd love to be this 6 car, or even the 6 car's a perfect pick there. Right now, he's running out front, so first place feels good to him. But if Jake gets by him, I don't think he's going to crash that car trying to win it. You know, second's a lot better. We heard from him pre-race, or earlier in the race, rather, when he said, you know, it's finally nice to be up front. And so a lot of these guys are just wanting a better finish than they've seen the rest of the season.
Well, you know, if you're reading the comments there on YouTube, then you can see that there is an upset pick out there by Justin Boyles, and again, Justin is a member of this league. He just happens to be working tonight, but he is watching the broadcast, and he says that Devin Zimmerman is the upset pick of the night.
Well, if we're talking upset picks, Justin, I respect everything that we've ever talked about, man, and all of your opinions. But my upset pick right now, if I had to choose one aside from Bowden, is that guy following Devin Zimmerman. He is quietly picking off spots and trying to come to the front. I mean, he's not been a guy that you've got to hoop and holler about a whole lot this year, but he's making his name right now. You know, he's showing these guys that he can run a silent, clean race, trying to stay away from the trouble, be around at the end.
And that's really, a lot of these Team SRN guys are just consistent. And that's really what this track needs, is consistency. And that's what we've seen time in and time out whenever we come here to race. The most consistent drivers, not necessarily the fastest, are the ones that win the race.
Yeah, you can be fast for a lap or two and out of rhythm for 3 or 4. But if you're in rhythm for 5 straight laps, you're going to be faster than the guys faster than you that get out of rhythm. And I know that seems a little bit confusing, but it's really not. It's a simple concept. If you get in rhythm, and actually this is a beautiful shot here as we drive with Bowdler, you'll see kind of in rhythm down around the bottom of the racetrack, gets the nose pointed, picks up the gas.
Whoa! That's
Jake
Roel
is driving
again.
hard though. But he's going to do the same thing here, right around that same line, going to get the nose pointed straight, pick up the throttle. So, I mean, you know, it's a smooth racetrack, and that's what's kept the 6 car out front. He might not be the fastest. In fact, I'm going to go as far to say as Jake Roel's likely the fastest car on the racetrack right now, but he can't get to the back of Bowdler because he's staying so smooth.
Well, Roel is about to have an advantage that Bowdler does not have. Roel has Dean Brummett coming up in 3rd place now, and so now 2 of the top 3 are Striker Motorsports. They may be able to get close enough here to possibly put a run together.
Yeah, I think that that's really the way that, and what you're going to want to do, you know, in the physics of iRacing here, you're going to want to get a little bit of dirty air to the nose of that 6 car. And with him out front like he is right now, the only thing that can hurt him is just, again, as Boyle said in the chat, he's going to chew up that right front tire. That's the only thing that can hurt the 6 car right now is his tires. Obviously, you know, fuel, these guys are on the same strategy. Everybody's got the same amount of fuel, but tires. So unless he eats up his right front tire, the only hope that they've got is some of these guys to get together and push up together to the back of that 6 car and take him away from the dirty air. So one thing we haven't really seen of the 6 car is how it's going to handle with his driving ability in dirty air tonight. He's had the clean air all night. The dirtiest he's got is 2nd place. So, I mean, that's the big one coming right now, Sean.
Well, he still has plenty of time before he catches up to lap traffic, and it doesn't look like anybody's catching him.
No, and you see there those 2 striker cars trying to get hooked up, but I just think, man, if I'm Bowdler, I've got a 1.2 second lead. That's where I cap it. I start doing, as Boyle said, you know, saving the tire. Don't eat it up. Don't shoot yourself in the foot when you've had a beautiful race. And that's really all he could do now is the wall or eat that tire up. He's set pretty.
Well, now he's seen Jake get a little out of control on this kind of distance here. So we are 17 laps into this run. And so he's seen Jake kind of get a little wobbly back there. And in fact, Dean Brummett just passed his teammate Jake Rowell. And so I think that this is the time for Daniel to back off just a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit, because he has got the line.
Well, let's actually take a lap this time across the stripe on board with Daniel Bowdler in that cockpit cam of that number 6 machine and see what it's like to be the leader here and see how he comes through.
And just watch his hands as he comes out of this corner. He has to work that car around.
Yeah, his tires have got to the point in this run here that he saw him earlier in the race, you know, kind of smooth through the corners. Now he's got to saw on it a little bit, get that front end where he wants it. Still, nonetheless, you know, as smooth as that is, it's going to be cut down a little bit of his time, and obviously, you know, eating up that right front tire just a little bit. So smooth down in 3, though, Sean, that didn't really look like he was doing much sawing that well. Coming off, it's going to be a little bit. 3 and 4 look like his bread and butter turns.
Which is interesting because earlier today in practice, he was saying that 3 and 4 were his worst, and it looks like he got through those smoother than anything else.
Yeah, and maybe that's just a little bit of heat building up in the tires, but man, that was still yet pulling way up to almost 8 seconds now over Dean Brummett. He's just so smooth. It's going to be hard, really. I mean, I think the only way, you know, it's his race to lose at this point.
And it looks like Jake Rowell is going to keep falling back. So, you know, we were talking about that right front tire. I think Jake Rowell has spent his because Bobby Brill is taking that 3rd position, and it looks like Devin Zimmerman is about to take the 4th position away from him as well.
I agree with you completely, and that's why I want to go back again to what Justin Boyle said in our chat here on YouTube. You're exactly correct. You know, he's a sitting duck. He's going to eat up his right front tire, but however, the one thing he has going in his favor, we see the 21 falling back. We see the 9 falling back. These guys trying to catch him are using that tire just as hard, if not harder, than Daniel is out in the lead. So it's crazy to me that, you know, he's still able to run that car that far out front. We see some tires going away, some guys surfacing from the back to the front. I think that's going to put David Duke now just outside the top 5, saving his tires. But here comes the upset pick again of Devin Zimmerman, just continuing to ride right there, not really, you know, making a lot of noise, Sean.
Well, I know last season he took 4th place in this race, and so he knows how to be consistent, and he knows how to drive that car around the track and not scrub those tires as much. He was one of those drivers that was just very, very patient, and that's what he's being right now. He's being patient and letting these cars come back to him.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge thing that we're going to see here. You know, we've got these guys ahead of him that are pushing for all their cars are worth, and he's just riding. He knows we've got another pit stop, probably another caution coming. So he doesn't want to go up there and push the car over the edge, you know, bump it into the outside wall, do some damage. He's been a clean race so far, kind of been in his own little own little shell there, so to speak. So he's just going to continue to be patient. Maybe as we get down here into the later parts of the run, we see him and some of those guys further back start pushing it. But right now, there's really no reason, you know, with the top 5, the pit stop coming up, you know, just 1 lap, 2 laps sooner than the guys in front of you, and we could see him cycle through the second shot.
Well, and back behind him, A.J. Pritchett and Mike Lepicki, his 2 teammates. So we were talking about the skunk stripe a little bit earlier, and here they are. They're 3 guys within 5 positions of each other. And so that skunk stripe is working tonight.
Yeah, and this is where, you know, we've been further into this, you know, this run on tires than we've typically seen tonight. That's really where things are changing. You know, we've got guys coming to the front that really know how to save the tires. Not sure. Can we jump down to a pit road cam there? Was that
is Jake Rowell. Jake Rowell is diving into the pits, so he is going to take this short pit here. Not sure if that's going to come back and bite him or not. Looks like his teammate back there, Andrew Schroeder, is also going to jump in. And
I know we had said a moment earlier that good idea to beat some of these guys to pit road, but I don't know about that from Jake Rowell. And the reason I say that is because we saw him charging on new tires, you know, pushing, gaining spots, getting closer to the front. But then once we get about 10 laps into a run, just as we saw early, you know, he's burnt the tires off of it and he has nothing left. So here he's going to have to go, unless we see a caution. If we cycle through, he's going to have to go 25 laps on this set of tires. And I think, I'm not really sure about our fuel window, but I think he's set to make it close to the end. But I think we'll see him take the lead away from Bowdler as we cycle out, but I don't think he'll be able to hold that. I think it's just a hair too early.
Yeah, I mean, that run was a 21-lap run on those tires. And so going 25 laps on those tires, not really sure it's going to help him.
Yeah, and you saw him fading, just as you said, 21 laps on that set of tires, and he had faded back out of the top 5 so quickly. And I just think, you know, he's got to be more conservative this time around with a set of tires where he doesn't go out there and push it. By design, he's on 21, 22 lap newer tires. He's going to be faster. Don't go out there and burn the rubber off of them and have nothing left. Because in all reality, it would seriously surprise me to see this come down to green flag racing throughout. We're going to see some guys trying to get up further than they know they can run, maybe overstep just a hair, maybe some guys understep and see some contact to bring out a caution. So if we go green to the end, could be a good strategy for Jake, but he can't burn them up in his first 3 or 4 laps out on the track.
Yeah, but man, how much longer can Bowdler stay out there? How much longer can these leaders stay out there?
What worries me about Bowdler's in a spot now where these guys that are in his mirror can't allow them, too many of them, to get in before him. But at the same time, every lap that he and the guys behind him are out there, that's bad news for Jake Rowell. And I know a lot of people see that as, you know, being quite the opposite, that Rowell's sitting pretty right now. You know, he's running faster lap times, he's gaining time. He is. You guys are exactly correct. But the problem is he's using his set of tires. These guys are all out here riding. No one's dove down pit road. They're all in, you know, the same strategy right now, so that when they come out, if Rowell's used up his tires, they're the guys that are going to be running him down. So Bowdler's got a decision to make here. If I'm not mistaken, I'd say the first car he hears behind him diving down, I think he's going to be bringing his machine down as well.
Yeah, I don't think he can wait too many more laps than what Dean Brumman and Bobby Brill are going to wait back there in 2nd and 3rd. But, man, take a look at Team SRN. 6th place, 7th place, and then 10th place. Thomas Rutherford, he is making his presence known in this league. He is trying to climb his way up the leaderboard.
Yeah, and you're exactly correct. I want to get an update on the standings here in a second. We'll talk about SRN. Keep watching that 25 car. But yeah, Thomas is, you know, just as I said, the Iceman, being silent, being methodical, and there you see he's going to dive.
Bowdler into the pits.
I knew there were some guys coming that time. I saw the 25 allow the one of Bobby Brill to go around him, so I fully expected him to come in. Now this is not good for all of those guys you see kept on going, because now Bowdler's going to get a run at least 3/4 of a lap on newer tires than everyone but Jake Rowell. So these guys here that we see cycle on through, Thomas Rutherford, you know, Zimmerman, Duke, all of those guys up the front, Brill and Brumman, they can't stay out here too long because they're gonna wind up setting themselves up. I think that was a great strategy, a team strategy nonetheless, as we see his teammate Troy Down join him on pit road. But I just wonder how long the leaders stay out now. If Bobby Brill, he's going to come down. It doesn't look like it.
He's going. He's going.
Brill's coming and Brummett's staying. Duke's following. Zimmerman's coming. Dowell's coming. I think Lepicki's still going. Rutherford this time. Man, it's going to be a busy place. Kyle Speed's joining these guys. So all kind of cars this time coming down pit road. And the lone guy up there, so to speak now, Dean Brummett, trying to see how far he can push it.
So now the question is, how much has he babied his tires? And let's see if he comes down this time around. It would make perfect sense to.
Yeah, it would make the most sense to do so. But, man, I know Dean's always in tire saving mode. You know, even when it doesn't seem like it, Dean's thinking about saving his tires. Maybe he's trying to set it up that he's hoping for a caution. He wants to be that guy that's out here. You know, he's going to get a caution. If he gets a caution, what guys will come back down and join him on pit road?
There he goes.
He's coming this time. So that should be just, there's Lepicki still out there.
Yep, Lepicki's coming down.
O'Shell's going to join him. There's still some cars staying out, though, that we saw pit.
Jonathan Byer
out there, Byers out there. We see Adam Pettit back up now, scored in third as well. So some guys playing the strategy, trying to stretch it and maybe take two late in this thing, try to steal one.
Yeah, and then another name we haven't talked about tonight, AJ Pritchett up there with Tank Racing as well. So a couple guys out there trying to push this thing a little bit further, maybe even get a point to help them out in the playoff chase. But I think they're just hoping for something to happen here, so that way they get a little bit of an advantage.
I saw at the top of our scoring up there some unfortunate news. We have any Jake Roel fans out there? Daniel Bowdler, after the pit stop cycle, is still ahead of that number 9 machine. I think he just made the stop. It could be incorrect, but I saw it change on our scoring ticker.
No, I think Bowdler's behind. Bowdler's behind by 2.71 seconds.
This is where Bowdler's been in a spot that's unfamiliar to him. Now, of course, these guys are not running at the top right now. They're 9th and 10th on the racetrack, but it's seemingly, unless some strategy plays out, it's going to be our race for the lead. What we can't afford to have Bowdler do here, for Bowdler's teammates, if we're anything like that, we can't allow Bowdler to use those tires up running down this 9 machine. His tires are newer. He's been faster all night. He's just got to slow down. Let the race come back to him. 18 laps to go, a lot of time if we go green, but if we get a caution, he's been faster. He's got plenty of time here. But thing is, I want you to see the car making the pass right now for the lead, and I think that's for the lead. I don't think
it is not. It is not actually. He is. So that's Adam Pettit, and Adam Pettit is a lap down. Yes, that's correct.
Is he a lap down from the incidents he was involved in, or is he a lap down from pitting?
Not really sure, honestly. Let me take a look at that. No, he's a lap down from the incidents. He has not pitted since lap 38, so he's having a rough race. But his teammate Aaron Gerwitz will assume the lead.
Yeah, and that's huge. Coming from him. I'm curious here, though, man. I think 2 tires there. 2 tires and a big lead would have been the way to go, and maybe we still see that maybe by Gerwitz here, but really pushing it this far is you're leaving yourself out on an island, so to speak, just with the amount of time it's going to take. You're running out of time to run these guys back down, but at the same time, you're leading the race. So, caution now changes everything.
Another car we haven't talked about, Corey Knight up in 5th place. He hasn't pitted yet, obviously, but I just wanted to throw his name in there. So the founder of Mid-South Madness up there in 5th. Looks like he's going to possibly pit this time around. And then a new driver up in 2nd place right now. This is Brad Herman, brand new this week, joining Bronco Motorsports. And so he is up in 2nd right now. Again, he hasn't pitted since lap 34. So these guys have not pitted yet. The cycle has not gone through, but just wanted to kind of mention their names. They are still having a good race.
Yeah, and it's the first time we've really had another driver there on screen as well, being Derek De Silva. He should be racing for position, but back to the Bowdler and Roel race going on here. It's down under a second, and actually it's a lot closer than that, Sean. that 6 car wants what is his. There's a lot of real estate right now on the line, and he wants to be the real estate master as he gets close back to that 9 car. Doesn't really know what it's like to follow and doesn't really want to find out.
Well, and like you were saying, he's got 4-lap newer tires, and so he has got the advantage here. It's just a matter of can he get around Roel.
Yeah, and Roel's going to put the block there, take the bottom line away, but I just think that's just, almost like beating a dead horse here. I think Roel's made an effort. He's kind of, made his bed and he's lying in it now. It was a great strategy, a great attempt to dethrone the 6 car, but I just think blocking at this point is only going to hurt him worse than it is anything. Bowdler's been faster on new tires. He's been faster on old tires. It's really hard to really justify the block there, as Bowdler's going to get inside and reclaim what will be the lead. Now, this is a battle for 4th, but as we get later into this thing, it'll become the battle for the lead. Now, Bowdler's going to get clear, a crossover move coming, but got to get down into that corner, make sure not to make any mistakes, and go back to doing what he's been doing all day, just hanging in there, running smooth, clean laps. And really, they're closing in. Ooh, slow car Corey Knight here, going to be a different, going to just get by. That should be the final of the cars now. They should be coming to recycle to the lead, which is interesting, though, because so far Jake has held tight on that 6 machine. Maybe have a shot to look inside here again. And one more run, I think, is about what the tires will permit for that 9 car. He's just ran so hard and never given up after the incidents early, Sean.
Yeah, I just don't see Roel catching him on the long haul here. 4-lap older tires, and just as good as Bowdler has been. Oh, we got a yellow flag, though, so this changes everything. Let's take a look and see what's going on back there. It looks like, I'm not sure. It looks like Aaron Gerwitz kind of gets a little bit out of control back there and just goes off the track.
From my point of view right there, it looks like Aaron Gerwitz took 2 tires. We've seen him pit. That car was a little loose early in the corner before what we would have seen. These cars are primarily tight race cars. If that was my guess, we saw Gerwitz take 2 tires and kind of upset the balance on that car.
Looks like we may have had another crash back there. No, I think Schroeder just kind of got to the inside, and it looks like he's going to take a tow. So not really sure what's going on with the Schroeder car, but the cause of that caution was Aaron Gerwitz.
Well, it looked like that 44 machine might have retired his night. Obviously not the night that he's been looking for. So we saw the war wagon go to sleep there on pit road. So this could change everything, man. I mean, we saw a few laps there. We saw Bowdler cycle back to the lead and probably almost in his head sigh a little bit and say, we're back. And then all of a sudden the yellow flag flies and we're back in a situation that we saw earlier in the race. Now these guys with 11 laps to go, around 11 laps to go, and we come down and we take tires, we're going to be inside of the window where Jake was just as fast as Bowdler. We saw beyond 11 laps be the issue where Roel really fell off of what Bowdler was able to do, Sean.
Man, I'm just kind of going through the leaderboard here. So same 3 or 4 guys up front that have been there pretty much the entire race. So Daniel Bowdler up front, Jake Roel in second, Dean Brummett. But here comes everybody down to pit road. They're all going to get brand new tires. Oh, we got a little bit of trickery there.
I don't think that's going to be the only trickery we're going to see. We're going to find out if it's good or bad. I think we're going to have some 2-tire stops here. I fully expect maybe David Duke to take 2 tires here and try to gain some spots. He's up to 5th, but I think one thing's for certain, as Jake tries to stay as close to that 6 car as he can, doesn't want to give him any opportunity to get away, but we'll see what happens here. And guys taking 2 or 4 tires that came down pit road. Brio obviously decided that his tires, he's going to take a shot and try to win it.
Well, let's see if we can find out who wins the race off of pit road, because it might be the race for the win here. But looks like
Bowdler's going to take it again, but Zimmerman. I wonder almost if that was a 2-tire stop for Devin Zimmerman there. He was I didn't see his name in the top 5 after a cycle through. Wonder if maybe actually he was outside of the top 5 coming in. The top 5 there was Bowdler, Roel, Brummett. I don't know who was 4th, but I know 5th was David Duke. So maybe a 2-tire stop there for Zimmerman. Oh, Brill would have been the 4th car. So yeah, Zimmerman likely took 2 there. So the pick of our one of our watchers here in chat, Justin Boyles, maybe coming through to upset some guys there.
Well, take a look over here on your left side. You'll see what lap everybody pitted on last. And so Bobby Brill pitted on lap 55 last time around. Looks like we're on lap 58 right now. I'm sorry, take that back. We're on lap, we're on lap, 63. So sorry, I'm killing my math here. So he's got 8-lap-old tires going on. O'Shell behind him has 2-lap newer tires. But then look at all those 63s and 64s down there towards the bottom of the list. They are going to have a big advantage. Can Bobby Brill hold them off?
Well, I think the biggest thing we're going to see here is if you look 9th, 10th, on back, some of those guys have fresh tires. A lot of these guys are going to be coming through the field for the first time today, like Bowdler. Zimmerman hasn't been that far back for a while. Brummett's been up front. So what they've got to do, they've got to hope, number one, for a green flag finish here. If we find a lot of cautions and we don't really get the green flag run, that's going to hurt these guys that just took tires. But they also have to be patient. They have to know that their tires are newer. They belong in front of these cars. They're faster than these guys. But, however, if you're O'Shell, if you're Pritchett, if you're Brill, you're hoping that they have issues getting through. You don't want to see Bowdler come off of turn 2 here down the backstretch and gain 2, 3, 4 position just off of his run. So this one just got interesting. This one got really, really interesting. It's going to be who can take their car through traffic the most, and I think the guy that's really done that and showed he could do it tonight above all else is the driver of that number 9 machine back there. He's come through the field twice already. He's had to pass guys the hard way, so we'll see what happens here, Sean.
Well, now he's even with Bowdler on tires, which he wasn't before. And so now I think he might have a little bit of an advantage because before Bowdler had the better tires, had the better run. Everything was working in Bowdler's favor. But, man, with that caution, that just mixed all of it up.
Yeah, and I agree with you completely. And I almost put Jake at a very big advantage because Bowdler's worst spot in this race is 2nd place prior to this. He hasn't had to drive past these guys. So we're about to find out here as we make our way down for the final time here under caution, rather. The pace car is about to dive off, Sean. Get us going.
All right, Bobby Brill, he is going to take the green flag as soon as the pace car drops off. And so Brill is one of those that sometimes he holds back, sometimes he just takes off. So it's just a matter of what he decides to do. He looks like he's warming up the tires a little bit there, and then he is going to take off like a shot. He's going to get out in front of O'Shell. Let's see if these top 10 cars or so can keep it clean and see if we can get some green flag racing. If so, then it's going to be interesting to see if Bowdler and Roel can catch up.
And that's who I had my eye on there in the corner is Bowdler and Roel. They've got a little bit of distance now as we get further, into this run that these guys at the front, Brill, O'Shell, Pritchett, these guys are trying to run away with it. And unfortunately for them, so far, that 6th car hasn't had any trouble coming through the field. He's trying to pick off these.
Oh, we got a wreck in the back. No yellow yet.
Curious to see if we get one there. It seemed like a lot of cars, but I saw the one.
Looks like Rutherford was involved. Now we get the yellow flag. Wow, huge wreck there. I'm surprised the yellow didn't come out sooner. Let's go back and see if we can figure out what's going on with a wreck replay by Dent Wizard. And it looks like Arciero in the 317 just gets a little bit out of control there, and then DuPont has nowhere to go, tags him a little bit, and so he's going to go for a little bit of a ride. And let's see where Rutherford comes into play because we did see him involved in that wreck. Oh, wow, looks like back behind. Beyer and Rutherford kind of get into each other a little bit.
Saw Kyle Spees out of shape there as well, so maybe some checking up. Probably heard wrecking up in front of him, and even up there in front, you see Spees still not able to gain control of that race car. So a lot of issues going on there to bring in a lot of race cars late in this thing.
Wow, I'm not really sure what's going on right there, that looked like Sean Dice dove off the track. And let's find out if we can find out how that happened. I think he was trying to avoid, he was trying to avoid Kyle Spees there. And so you can see Kyle Spees up into the wall up ahead of him, and he comes down. Sean Dice is going to try to avoid that wreck, but he's going to end up in the grass. And once you're in the grass here, it's tough to get out of it. He's going to hit the wall, come back out onto the track.
I think
gets
that's
out of control.
Even though it doesn't work out for Sean there, I like that race awareness. He knew Taylor was to the right of Kyle Spees. He knew he couldn't turn right. He knew he had to go left. And unfortunately for him, it didn't really pay out, so to speak, as far as gathering it up. Because had he went right, he'd have ate the outside wall with Taylor there. But back up front, that's not really what you want to see. If you want to see cautions, you want to see them quicker than that if you're Bobby Brill and Brian O'Shell. And the reason I say that is because Bowdler there was able to gain a spot or two, pick off a couple guys, come a little closer to the front. Same with Roel, same with Zimmerman. Those guys got a few, and then a caution bunched them back up. And that's what's going to pay huge here.
See, I actually kind of disagree with you there, Brandon, because Bobby Brill is looking at that lap ticker, and he is seeing it tick, 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 tick off. And if that happens, then he might steal a win here.
Yeah, and you could be absolutely correct. It's really a grab bag here, but the one thing that he can't afford is for this being a long, long racetrack. It's so long to come, even on a green, white checker. You have so much driving to do to come back and take a top, take the white flag. I'm sorry. But, 1 and 2, you get a spot. 3 and 4, you get a spot. And before you make it to the line, there's a caution. That's where these guys are going to be able to capitalize. And I think the issue being right now, if you're Bobby Brill, you have to hope the caution comes out in 1. The caution comes out in 2. You don't want to run a lap. You don't want to even run half a lap here, because that's just space that these cars on fresher tires can gain. And I do want to give a shout out to those guys at Broncos Motorsports. Looks like they've got 3 cars right now in the top 5, Sean.
That's right. Brand new driver Brad Herman making his presence felt here. He's up in 4th. And then Chris Massey, we saw him be involved with a couple of cautions a little bit earlier, just a couple of those wrecks. He is up there in 5th. And so 3 of the top 5 are Bronco Motorsports. If you want to rise up the standings, that is the way to do it.
No, and you're exactly correct. A lot of guys, with the opportunity here to steal a finish away. These guys up here in the top 5. I think about the only one so far that we've talked about a whole lot is that number 1 machine leading the race. So we'll see what's coming for these, the final few laps here. Did we get lights off that time in the pace car? Lights are off. So we're going to find out this time. I believe maybe a foul restart coming. So that's only going to hurt the 1 machine. He's not going to have to worry about him sorting it out side by side going down into 1. They're already going to be single file and trying to gain positions.
Yeah, that's what brings the tires back into play, because when you're side by side, you have to worry about the guy next to you, the guy in front of you, and the guy behind you. But when you are single file the way they are right now, then all you have to do is worry about that guy in front of you and the guy behind you not passing you. And so this is not good for Bobby, because he has older tires and he doesn't have the benefit of people racing behind him and letting him get a little bit of distance.
No, and you're exactly correct, and that's a big thing that I want to point out here. If we see a lot of cautions like, Bobby Brill is hoping for, with the rule we have in place here in Mid-South Madness, back-to-back cautions without a completed lap are going to net a lot of single-file restarts. And just as you said, Sean, when we get those single-file restarts, it makes it easier to go up and grab 1, 2, maybe 3 positions quickly, because you're not going 3 wide. When you get to those cars, you're only going 2 wide. So it's going to be interesting. I do want to say Zimmerman right now is leading the charge of those guys with new tires.
Yes, he is. And then Dean Brummett also in front of him as well. Another name we haven't talked about, and I know we're coming to green, Matthew Johnson in the 62 car for Flashpoint Racing. He's up there in 6th. So a lot of names up here, but Bobby Brill is going to bring us back to the green. And there he goes. Let's see if he can hold that position. You can already see guys behind getting out of line, trying to make some passes.
Oh, there was some contact back there as well. Don't look like there's going to bring a caution out from it, though. But, man, they're single file and they're racing right now. the guys with new tires didn't really get going the way we wanted back there. You know, we wanted to see some exciting finishes here, but it looks like the guys that stayed out on that last caution might pay big here. Brummett's up to the back of these cars who didn't pit, but Bobby Brill trying to gap and space these guys out. Doesn't want them to get too close, and really, he's sitting in the catbird seat right now.
Yeah, he is. 6 laps to go. I'm not sure there's enough time for a Bowdler or a Brummett or a Roel or a Zimmerman to make enough of a charge to pass all these cars to get up to Bobby.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate part, you know, for these guys that we've seen out front a lot early in this race. Bobby Brill's going to come down and looks like he's going to complete a lap before a caution. So if we see another restart, it will be a double file restart. However, looks like the guys that are up there racing around him don't really have a whole lot that they can do. You know, they can't really touch that one car right now. The unfortunate part is the guys that are bunched up behind him, as we get Bowdler, Zimmerman, Brummett, those guys in the mix and start passing cars, they're going to be able to pass a lot of them quickly, Sean.
Yeah, and like we said, you know, back here, Brummett back in 7th place, Bowdler in 8th, and Jake Roel in 9th. You know, these 3 guys have basically been up front the entire night, and just not a lot they can do back there. But Bobby Brill has been towards the front. Oh, we got O'Shell.
Oh, gather it, gather it. Back here with the guys with new tires. He's trying to stay out of the way, stay up against the wall, and let these guys pass. He's still not in the safe zone. Now he gets a little bit of safeness to gather it up. Still guys shuffling around behind him. So Bobby Brill, that time, 4 laps to go, and he's trying to check out and do a little dance on these guys, not allow them to get near him. But, man, I think the strategy late in this race, we thought it would be 2 tires, but Bobby Brill showing that no tires may have been the way to go there. Now, the problem is, you know, even though he was on a little bit older tires than these guys that pitted, thing that's going to come down and really show big for him. Oh, wow, we're going to have some guys coming into the 4th position here. The tires are coming. So if you're Brill, now you want it to run out. You don't want to restart with these guys catching back up to the top 5. So, but Bobby Brill, you know, he's been able to run out front, try to check out on these guys. I think if we stay green, it's seemingly impossible unless he makes a mistake that any of these guys with new tires catch him, Sean.
And we got some shuffling towards the back, but it doesn't look like any damage back there, so we are still green. Oh, looks like Zimmerman's off track.
Oh, and I think that was...
Oh, and there's the caution.
Oh, man, there was all kind of cars back behind him that were involved. David Duke.
Oh, and huge wrecks. And everybody's just getting involved now. Nobody has time to check up there off of that turn. They didn't see anything coming. So a lot of damage back there. We're going to go back and we're going to find out what happened. But that is not good for Bobby Brill, although with are we in a green-white checker at this point?
Yeah, we've got at least 2 pace laps. It's going to, well, you know, we're actually kind of in a danger zone here. We saw it before in another race, or I've saw it before in another race, where if the caution was timed perfectly, if you don't, you know, you come down and you take what will be a green-white checker, but it'll actually be a green-white and then the checker. Hopefully it does extend us out to a green-white checker and it doesn't send us back racing with 1 to go. There we see, man, a lot of those SRN cars there, half of the team taken out. Danny Dow, David Duke, I think Matt Johnson involved there, Sean.
Yeah, keep in mind, this was up front. This was up towards the front of the track. So really interesting to see that kind of damage happen. Oh, just a huge hit there.
Not really sure. It looked like David Duke was in the grass early in that turn there. So
let's find out.
Maybe he saw something up ahead that he was trying to avoid, get down out of the way, but not really sure.
Just 5 guys right here trying to get through with space in and Matt Johnson and Zimmerman. So sorry, Justin Boyles. There goes your pick of the night right there. So Zimmerman gets into him. He's going to have some damage. I don't think he's going to be able to win this race at this point. Looks like Duke gets in there. Dow gets in there. That's some friendly fire. So a couple teammates, but I mean, of course, what can they do at that point?
Yeah, Duke was just left in a spot there where he tried to go down across. I know seeing it here, looks like it's flat, but if you drive the track, you can see that grass there is almost in a hump formation. Duke tried to turn that car left, get down across the grass, and the only thing it did was shot him up to the right into his teammate. Luckily, the 34 looks like he gets through there. The lone SRN car that was involved or around the accident that got through there. Didn't see Setzer either. Didn't see Danny Setzer involved. So tough night, man. A good night just went sour for those SRN guys yet again.
All right, and so here we go. It looks like we are going to have a green-white checker. So we have Bobby Brill up front, A.J. Pritchett there in second, Brad Herman and Chris Massey, both Bronco Motorsports as well, up in third and fourth. And then look who's back in fifth. Jake Rowell.
Man, I think this one here, who do we have as the captain of Bronco Motorsports? Is that Chris Massey now?
I believe it is Chris Massey, yes.
I think if I'm Chris Massey, I'm giving the orders. I'm saying, look, guys, 3 of the top 4 cars, the Bronco Motorsports cars. You know, Bobby Brill, who do you want to shove you out to this one? And, you know, he decides top lane, bottom lane, who he wants to work with. And then Herman and Massey are going to go then on defense. They know these tires back here are newer. They know these guys back here are faster. They've got to keep the 9, the 25, and the 6 behind them. And I don't think they can get greedy here and say, all right, we're all in the top 4. Let's go race for it. Let's try to win it. Because if you have any of these guys get alongside Bobby Brill, what they're in fact doing is allowing those 3 cars coming back there with new tires to just close that gap, Sean.
Well, man, here we go. I know we've got another lap to go until green, but this is the situation. So Bobby Brill up in first. His tires are about 8 laps older than 5th place and 6th place. The other guys that are back in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place, they also have newer tires. But Bobby Brill, being as experienced as he is and already having a win, he has nothing to lose here.
No, and I think that's going to be the issue. You know, you've got 3 cars behind you. You don't have anything to worry about as the one driver. But you have the 79, the 85, and the 83. Obviously, the 85 needs this win more than anyone. He's a new driver making his first appearance with us. He needs this win. He needs to go up there and race his teammate. He's got to get a win to make his life easy. However, if you start battling, you got a driver in front with a win, 3 drivers behind him needing a win, and then 2 drivers behind them that already have wins and have been up front each and every week. So this one is about to become chaos. And I know we said it before, Zimmerman doesn't have a shot. Realistically, if these guys go in here, get sideways, get crazy, it could be just what we expect. It could be chaos.
Well, think of this from Bobby Brill's perspective here. So if he somehow, some way gets slowed down, then that slows down his teammate Herman, and then you have A.J. Pritchett on his outside that can take the win. If both of them slow down, you have Jake Rowell back there in 5th place that he could swoop right in, and he could take the win. Bobby Brill is not safe here, and he is actually the one that is in the worst position because of tires.
Well, I do want to point out here, it looks like Bobby Brill's tuned into our stream here. Just got a message on the side from Bobby Brill that said, watch this. So I just kind of changed my tone a little bit about the driver of that one car. So maybe he heard the strategy. Maybe that's their plan, but he just said to watch this. So we'll see what's coming from the Bronco Motorsports guys here, Sean.
Man, and that is the attitude that Bronco Motorsports has been missing all season long. And with their name change, they brought that attitude in. Bobby Brill just said, watch this, and let's just see what we're about to see.
I'm kind of excited to see this one. The pace car's diving off. It's up to Bobby Brill. He's got the confidence, and that's what's important. He's off like a rocket ship. No one behind him. They were asleep on that restart. So we'll see what can happen here. Bobby Brill's got to hope for it to stay green. He doesn't want these guys to get any closer because he's got the car that he needs to have in his mind. We're going to get racy.
Oh, we got 3 wide.
I hope that pays off. I didn't think that was going to work very well coming off of these 90-degree corners here, but I tell you who's loving that. It's the one car out in the front. But Superman is coming. He's up to 4th, Sean.
And here comes A.J. Pritchett trying to put some pressure on Bobby Brill.
Yeah, and that's not what Bobby needs to see here coming to take the white flag. He does not need to see pressure. He said he thought he had saved enough of a race car, and that's likely what he's doing here. He's just saving a little bit. Once the white flag comes out, it's go time. But here come the tires, 3rd position, 4th position, trying to take 5th. They've got a lot of time to grab here, but they can't afford to race side by side as they're doing down into 1. Bowdler's going to clear the 25. Can he make something happen? The 79 on the back bumper of the 1 here. Man, this is going to be a good finish.
2 more turns. Here comes Bowdler. So if something happens between Brill and Pritchett here, Bowdler could steal this win.
Oh, and that's what I'm afraid is going to happen here. Pritchett needs a win. He's down inside of the 1 car. They're battling back and forth. They're going to get through 3 clean. But does he use the bumper in 4? Can Brill get clear? A good run off of 3 that time, and an even better run through 4. I think that about shapes it up, Sean.
Bobby Brill is going to take the victory here at the Battle of the Brickyard 185. Bobby Brill, Bronco Motorsports, congratulations on your 2nd win of the season.
And Bobby Brill, I know you're watching, buddy. That is the confidence I want you to carry the rest of the season. The tires were there. You had the challenge from the 79. You knew what you had left. We didn't know, and nobody behind you, but you knew, buddy. Way to bring the confidence and put Bronco Motorsports that much closer to the top.
What a great drive by Bobby Brill. A very big risk that he took staying out on that caution, and that paid off. Daniel Bowdler giving him the wave, saying congratulations there. That was Daniel Bowdler's race until that caution came out.
Yeah, and it just didn't fall his way, Sean. I mean, it really didn't. He needed a couple of different things to happen there. He needed more positions or more cautions. And, you know, if I'm not mistaken, I wonder if Bobby Brill's talked around the league this week and found out how last year's race was won, because I think the guys that were running up front, as we see a little bit of damage to that one machine on the victory burnout. But if I'm not mistaken, I think strategy changed the outcome of this race last year as well.
What a great drive. Let's check out our results, Brandon. Looks like Bobby Brill up in 1st place. A.J. Pritchett gave it a good run, but I think he got a little too deep into that corner and then fell off a little bit there. So A.J. Pritchett there. Daniel Bowdler had the car all day long, just kind of got into some traffic there after the pit strategy call by Bobby Brill. And so he'll take 3rd. Dean Brummett in 4th place for Stryker Motorsports. Jake Rowell, our pole sitter, up in 5th place for Stryker Motorsports as well.
Yeah, and in 6th place, the new guy, Brad Herman's going to bring it home for Bronco Motorsports. 7th place, a much-needed top 10 yet again from Mike Lepicki in Tank Racing. 8th place, Adam Pettit. We saw him have all kind of struggles here tonight, but he stuck to it. He battled. He never gave up until the checkered flag fell and brought it home 8th. Chris Massey's going to bring us home 9th, and your pick, Thomas Rutherford, leading the way for those Team SRN cars, is going to bring it home 10th, Sean.
Man, that is a good race for him. Great race out there for Stryker Motorsports, for Stake Dance, for Bronco Motorsports especially. I mean, just really, really great racing tonight. Let's see if we can't get our third place finisher into the booth here. So Daniel Bowdler, let me see if I can grab him. Daniel Bowdler, Sean and Brandon up in the booth. How's it going, man?
Oh, not too bad. Could have been a little better there, but not too bad.
Yeah, we know you're kind of disappointed. You had that race, man, you had checked out there for a little while and then some cautions late, and then a great pit strategy by Bobby Brill is what did you in. But as far as driving out there, do you think this gets the monkey off your back?
So we're going to a track next week that's pretty similar to this one in Pocono, so hopefully we can be pretty strong there as well. Definitely a help. Finished up front there, had a pretty strong run at the end. I think I probably could have got there if we'd had one more lap there. Probably could have got up there and at least made it a little interesting. Don't know if I would have quite got him, but yeah.
Well, man, hopefully that moves you up in the points a little bit, hopefully to get you kind of pointed in to the playoffs. But even without that, the way you drove today, you've got a good shot at Pocono to bring home the checkered flag and guarantee you a spot in the playoffs.
I hope so. If nothing else, this was a good start on a points run to hopefully point my way in here. But yeah, I like Pocono almost as much as I like Indianapolis. So hopefully a good run next week too.
All right, buddy.
Well, I think the one thing that I wanted to chime in real quick, we're in the Daniel Bowdler stage of this season. You know, Indy, you're strong at Indy. you're strong at Pocono. Haven't really seen you at North Wilkesboro, so I don't want to speak there. But then we go to Texas. Then we go to Watkins Glen. These are all tracks that are in your wheelhouse, buddy. So I think a great top 3 here goes to prove a long way that this season can be turned around for you, and your determination and your driving ability, I think, will get you there, bud.
I hope so. I like the schedule that's coming up, so hopefully we can have some pretty good runs at all them tracks.
All right, buddy. Well, we'll let you get back down to your team. Celebrate a little bit tonight, but get right back at it. Go ahead and start practicing Pocono, and we will see you there.
Guys.
All right, let's see if we can't get AJ Pritchett. Of these tank racing guys, AJ Pritchett was one that kind of he was back in the back for a little while, and then just out of nowhere, here he is. So
yeah, he was kind of one that we weren't really talking about, weren't really mentioning, but he kind of took the banner from Zimmerman, who we saw run a lot, and Picky was up there in the top 10, and he decided he was going to go up and put a nice finish on the board for those guys.
Well, let's see if we can't pull him into the booth and find out his feelings, especially on that last turn there. So AJ Pritchett, Sean and Brandon up in the booth. How's it going, buddy?
Hey, good guys. How are you?
Man, doing good. We saw you on that last lap. We saw you were pushing that car for everything it was worth, just trying to get inside there. Didn't quite happen for you today, but how did that feel to be up front?
Felt great. I was definitely trying to push Brill, and it was a good fun 2 laps there.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that we were talking about right before we brought you up here, you kind of had a little bit of a silent night, but we've almost proven that that's what it takes here. You played the strategy, you were confident in your ability to run up there. The pit strategy fell your way, a couple cautions fell your way, and buddy, above all else, this is an excellent finish. I know Brill got the win off of you, and you finished second, but you didn't make it easy on him. You showed your speed. You showed that your ability to find victory lane is right around the corner. And what's it like, as you saw those guys that we saw up front all day, Bowler, Brumman, and Roel, they restarted a little further back and knowing you had just a handful of laps left?
Yeah, well, thank you for all that. It was definitely exciting. It was definitely a battle watching everybody. It was definitely tires, I think, played a little bit of a factor. And like you said, played my cards right, and I knew when to push and when to save it, and felt like that kind of helped.
Well, AJ, so we saw all the tank cars really kind of getting together, and that's kind of been the MO of tank racing this entire time. Is that something that we can see at Pocono as well?
Oh, I'm sure. We work real close together, and we spend some good time in practice, all sharing setups and lines and breaking points and all that good stuff. So, when one of us gets a track down, it's pretty sure that all 3 of us can find it too.
Man, that is excellent. We really enjoyed watching you up front there. Can't wait to see you in victory lane here really shortly. I think that it's just a matter of weeks, man.
Oh, I thank you. This Common Sense, Hooters, Great Guys, Pizzazz Band car is sure hauling.
Good deal, buddy. Well, we're going to drop you back down to your team here. You guys celebrate a little bit, but get that practice in because next week Pocono is going to be fun.
Oh, definitely. I think it's going to be something similar to this track. It's going to be tricky, and the drivers are going to prevail.
All right, buddy. Have a great night.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see if we can't get our race winner in here.
I'm excited for this one right here, man. That confidence went a long way with me. Just him knowing that he had saved enough. I got confirmation from him after the race before we get him up here. Still 92% on that right front tire for Bobby Brill here. So let's see if we can get a hold of our leader and maybe pick his brain a little bit of what went through his mind.
All right, buddy. I'm going to let you take control of this one. Bobby Brill, Sean and Brandon up in the booth. How's it going?
What's going on?
What's happening, buddy? First of all, congratulations. I'm going to be the first to say it. I doubted the strategy, but you played it perfectly. Without a doubt in my mind, you knew what you were doing. And what was it like, when we saw late on that pit strategy, when everybody was coming, you thought, nah, I'm going to stay out. So what went through your mind? What led to you not pitting there?
Just believing in how well I saved my tires. At first, with it being 8 laps on the tires, I didn't think I warmed out too bad with staying in the 54s. And I decided to stay out, and it paid off.
Well, yeah, it definitely showed big here, and that's the one thing that I told guys the day that I saw you join the server. I said, there's no one in this league now that saves tires like Bobby Brill saves tires. You've already got the win. You were already, good to go, but you added this one to the arsenal. You reached up and you took this one. So, next week we head to Pocono. As Boundler said earlier in our interviews, it's a lot like Indianapolis. How do you prepare for Pocono and beyond for the season headed to the Chase?
Just trying to be consistent and saving tires as best as I can and keeping up at the front of the field, staying out of trouble mainly.
So, Bobby, we've been talking all night about Bronco Motorsports and their new logo, their new name, and their new attitude. And bringing you onto the team just really solidified that new attitude. And especially, Brandon said that you sent him a message during that last caution that just said, watch this. Is that the new attitude that we can expect?
Yeah. I want us to join Chris and them to help them win. And I think Chris and Greg and everybody on the team, I think everybody on the team is more capable of winning a race. I just want to help them get some wins, help us get to the top of the leaderboards.
I want to add it to the record right now. This week in Indianapolis, Bobby Brill, I'm going to tell you that is the attitude of champions. And it's not a cocky attitude. It's not, it's just confidence. And you showed me the confidence. It bled through to your finish on that green-white checkered when those guys got to third, fourth, and fifth. You knew what you had. You knew what you had done. And it shows me that above all else, above the rest of the teams that have been here from day one, Bronco Motorsports is ready for this championship chase.
Thank you.
All right, Bobby. Well, we're going to let you get back to the Bronco Motorsports there. We will see you guys next week at Pocono.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you, and thank you for broadcasting.
All right. So, Brandon, let's talk about next week. So, Pocono, the Tricky Triangle 150 at Pocono Raceway. So, 60 laps at Pocono. And like everybody was saying, it's going to seem kind of similar to this race.
Yeah, it's the difference really, though, is each turn is different. You don't have the same turns here. It's a 3-turn racetrack. It's the only 3-turn racetrack that we go to on the NASCAR schedule. But it does have a lot of similarities in the long straightaways, the sweeping corners that you have to time perfectly. And I remember, I'm going to take us to a flashback to last year at Pocono. The one driver that we saw that was solid on all 3 corners of those, really 2 drivers, the Dows. So I think they're going to lead the way a lot in practices this week, and I expect to see them up front, next week in the race. But this is going to be an interesting race because if you haven't driven there, you've got a lot to learn. And even if you race there on a regular basis, you've got to fine-tune it because as we saw here tonight, the fastest car doesn't always walk away with the victory, Sean.
Absolutely. It does take strategy. It does take patience. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of luck. But for now, I'm Sean Griffith signing off for my buddy Brandon. This is Speed Racing Network, and we will see everybody next week at the Tricky Triangle 150 at Pocono Raceway. Good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.